Chapter 860. Are you sure you're not joking with me? Xia Qiuyu couldn't believe it. This wasn't something a normal person could believe. Su Yun didn't avoid Xia Qiuyu's questioning gaze. Do I look like someone who would joke around? Xia Qiuyu hesitated for a moment before shaking her head. Indeed, he didn't. However, she still couldn't accept Su Yun's request to help her. I believe you, but I can only say that with your current situation, you probably can't help me much, right? For now, perhaps. Su Yun nodded. If 1 day ago, he was still thinking about how to spend the rest of his life in his current state, then now, Su Yun wasn't going to accept his current state. He still had things he needed to do. Shadowless's death was full of questions. He couldn't accept this. Like Xia Qiuyu, he needed an answer. He needed to know the truth. So, you already have a recovery plan? Xia Qiuyu said, please forgive me for being so blunt. From what I see, you can't help me with anything in your current state. Instead, you're like a burden to me. I don't have the time to take care of you. Su Yun smiled bitterly. Of course, I can't do anything in my current state. I know this better than anyone. However, I think I found a way to recover my strength. Xia Qiuyu swore that she had heard too many unbelievable things today. Therefore, she wouldn't be too shocked by what Su Yun said. Even if he said he had a way to recover his strength from being a cripple, she wouldn't be surprised. What way? Then I need to find the Ghost King, Muto Ichiro. Su Yun said calmly, only by finding that guy can I solve my own problem. Are you crazy? Xia Qiuyu almost blurted out. He had already lost all his strength in the fight with Pluto. Now he had to find another Ghost King in his current state. No matter how ruthless Pluto Langchan was, he didn't forget his ancestors and the Huaxia people. As for the Ghost King Muto Ichiro, he was a complete traitor who had forgotten his ancestors. A lackey who had defected to the Japanese and even had the surname of the Japanese. Haha, your thinking is really too naive. Xia Qiuyu said, let's not talk about Muto Ichiro. With your current state, I'm afraid you can't even deal with Zhou Gui, right? Of course, I admit that you have many powerful people by your side. Lin Guo, Zuameyan, Chou Yun, they are all famous people in the underground world. However, the difference in strength was still very obvious. It was as if the male lead of Huaxia was looking for a World Cup champion to play in a match. Even if the other party had a full lineup of substitutes, there was no comparison at all. The difference is not small at all. I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you that I've also fought with Muto Ichiro, Su Yun said. As for the 9 ghosts you mentioned, they're all dead now. Damn. Xia Qiuyu was so shocked that she jumped up. Because her movement was too big, she almost tore the towel. She hurriedly grabbed the towel around her chest. Su Yun, you're too perverted. Perhaps because Xia Qiuyu's voice was a little loud, it attracted the attention of the people outside the door. Zuameyan did not have the patience to knock on the door and directly barged in. Ruan Qingxuang and Lin Guo were also at the door. When Zuameyan pushed the door open and entered, the scene that everyone saw made their blood boil. Xia Qiuyu grabbed the towel that was about to fall off and scolded Su Yun for being a pervert. Sigh. Lin Guo slapped his forehead and thought, brother, aren't you too impatient? Is this morning's disturbance so unbearable? It can't be that when you see a girl wrapped in a towel, can it? Looks like we came at the wrong time. Zuameyan rolled her eyes. I didn't know you were so free early in the morning. Hey, Xia Qiuyu. Hurry up and explain to them that this has nothing to do with me. Su Yun, you're the one who got excited, I didn't touch you. F***ck, am I really unlucky these days? Why do all these weird things happen to me? Xia Qiuyu also realized that this was a misunderstanding. She said with a red face, it's not what you think. I'm not saying that he's a pervert, I'm saying that what he did was perverted. Indeed, it's a little perverted to pull off a girl's towel in the middle of the day. Zuameyan joked. Of course, she knew that they were not talking about this. The person who slandered me doesn't have a dick. Su Yun said angrily. Zhuo shrugged indifferently. I don't have one in the first place. Ruan Qingxuang was speechless. This joke was a little too cold. Qiuyu, your clothes from yesterday should have been washed. I found a few of my clothes for you. See which one you like and wear it first. Xia Qiuyu was touched. Sister Shuang, thank you. I'm a little embarrassed that you've taken such good care of me. It's what I should do. It's nothing, don't worry about it, Ruan Qingxuang said. She was already used to taking care of anyone around Su Yun. Among all the people present, perhaps no one could be compared with Ruan Qingxuang's breadth of mind. Su Yun stood up and said, Then you should change your clothes first. You should consider my suggestion. No matter what decision you make, I'll support you. But at the same time, you can't change the fact that I'll interfere. I won't just watch you walk into danger alone. Xia Qiuyu fell silent for a while. I'll consider it. Give me some time. Su Yun nodded and walked out of the room. Lin Gu smirked. Bro, you're pretty good. You've gotten the hang of it so quickly. When are you going to teach me some experience in this area? What? You haven't hit a home run with Feng Ye yet? Su Yun replied sarcastically. She has already offered herself to you. If you don't hurry up, you'll be like a cooked duck waiting to fly. You'll regret it when it really flies. She flies every day. How would I have a chance? Lin Gu didn't dare to retort. Forget it. Forget it. I didn't say anything just now. Zhuo turned her head around. Little pigeon, you have a girlfriend? I really couldn't tell that you would be so naughty after being with Su Yun for a short period of time. However, if you really want to learn how to hit a home run, you can treat me to a cup of tea. I'll definitely be able to give you enough experience. Lin Gu blushed when he heard Zhuo words. Sister Yan, let's forget about this. I'm a very pure person. I'm as pure as water that has been filtered through 82 processes. I've never considered hitting a home run before. Oh. I understand now. Our little pigeon is so conservative. Zhuo smile widened. That means that if you can't guarantee that she'll wear a white wedding dress, you won't unbutton her chest. Am I right? Chapter 861. In the end, Xia Qiuyu made the right decision. She thought about Su Yun's words and had to admit that it was too difficult for her to find out the truth on her own. After all, the dangers of the underground world were not something a girl who had just entered society could handle. She needed someone to help her when she was in trouble. The only person she could trust now was probably Su Yun, whom her father had wanted to entrust her to when he was alive. Of course, Su Yun had to explain Xia Qiuyu's identity to everyone. His respect for Shadowless was understandable. After all, he was the senior who gave Su Yun hope when he was young. It was not hard to understand why Su Yun cared so much about his death. Any man with a sense of responsibility would make the same choice as Su Yun when faced with such a situation. Now, the biggest problem they were facing was the location of Muto Ichiro. After so many days, Lin Gu still could not get any news about Muto Ichiro in Dongying. Ever since that guy abandoned the ship on the high seas, it was as if he had evaporated into thin air and completely disappeared from this world. Even so, Su Yun did not believe that Muto Ichiro would be eaten by a few sharks. That would be a disgrace to his title as the Ghost King. Su Yun was sure that he must be hiding somewhere to recuperate. Or rather, he was running away from some people. Just think about it, Dongying's infamous Hitsuka unit was completely wiped out. Muto Ichiro's master in Dongying would obviously be furious. It was not hard to understand why Muto Ichiro was hiding to avoid being punished. Su Yun felt that it was necessary for him to personally make a trip to Japan. Even if everyone objected, he was certain that Muto Ichiro was definitely hiding in some corner of Japan. When the time was right, he would be like a venomous snake that had awakened from hibernation, darting out to bite them. Alright, even if you find Muto Ichiro, how are you going to face him? Zhuo raised an even more serious question. With your current strength? Or Lin Gu? You have to know that even if you can confirm that Muto Ichiro is not a true Earth Profound Realm expert, we still don't have the ability to win against him. The last time you were able to force him to retreat, it was under the condition that your strength was not damaged, and you even joined forces with CFAIs. And now, according to Pigeon, CFAIs is already swamped with work in Zhongzong. It's impossible for him to come and help you right now. You need to be more patient. We need to discuss this matter at length. Lin Gu nodded. Zhuo Meiyan was right. Xia Qiuyu had chosen to believe in Su Yun. Therefore, no matter what decision Su Yun made, she would support his decision without hesitation. However, she had the same opinion as the others on this matter. If Su Yun acted rashly, he would not get the result he wanted. But I don't have time to wait. Su Yun said, if we can't even find Muto Ichiro's whereabouts, how are we going to get the seeds of the qi consolidating grass that he carries with him? Xia Qiuyu said, Su Yun, we can't rush to find him. But believe me, as long as we find him, I will definitely help you get the seeds of the qi consolidating grass. You can only fight him if you recover first. Otherwise, no matter how much we do, it will be futile. None of us here has the strength to fight him. If the successor of the thief god Shadowless wanted to get something from someone, there was no doubt about it. Then I have even more reason to go to Dongying to find him. Su Yun said, if we can't find Muto Ichiro, everything can't continue. This is the prerequisite. Brother, if you insist on going, then I will go for you. I will make a military promise that I won't come back if I can't find him. You can rest assured now, right? Lin Gu said, as long as Muto Ichiro is in Dongying, even if I have to dig 3 feet into the ground, I will definitely find him for you. Su Yun shook his head. He was more realistic than everyone present. Pigeon, whether you go or anyone else, it will only be a futile effort. It's impossible for us to find Muto Ichiro, but I know someone who can help us. Hearing this, Lin Gu was immediately energized. Who? Dongying's Iguchi group, Su Yun said. As soon as he said this, it was like a calm lake stirring up huge waves. That was the largest underground organization in Dongying. It could even be said that the Iguchi group's power in Dongying was not weaker than the Dongying cabinet. If not for the fact that the members of the Dongying cabinet were obedient to their beautiful father would have supported the Iguchi group to overthrow the current cabinet. Are you having a fever? Cho Yun said coldly, the Iguchi group is not to be trifled with. What right do you have to ask them to help you find him? Because I can cure the strange illness of the daughter of the Iguchi group's big boss, Su Yun said confidently. What do you mean? Everyone was confused. Su Yun looked at everyone helplessly. Don't you guys usually watch the news? The Iguchi group's big boss is asking for medical help all over the world because his daughter has a very strange illness. Coincidentally, I've encountered this strange illness that has been diagnosed as the only case in the world by all the major hospitals in the world. Zhuo Meiyan shrugged. Right now, everyone's focused on you. Who would have the time to look at all those random news articles? What do you know? Hurry up and tell us. The Iguchi group's big miss wakes up from nightmares every night, and then it's like she's a different person. Su Yun said, to a certain extent, it's not an illness. It's impossible to find a doctor to help her. Ruan Qingxuang heard this and felt her hair stand on end. Can you not make it sound so scary? It's like she's been possessed. Su Yun gave her a thumbs up. Sister Shuang, you're right. She's been possessed. Whoosh. Not only Ruan Qingxuang, but everyone else also couldn't help but shiver. What was this? This was modern society, and Su Yun was making it sound like a feudal superstition. I can understand what you're thinking now. You won't believe it. Su Yun said, if it were me, I wouldn't believe it either. But I once met an expert. If it weren't for him, I wouldn't believe that there's such a thing as possession in the world. Brother, people live with a breath. When they die, they don't have that breath anymore. There's no such thing as a soul. Lin Gu said, your joke is a bit too much. No matter what you say, I don't believe in ghost possession. It goes against science. Su Yun nodded. The possession I'm talking about isn't a ghost. It's a kind of ancient Indian witchcraft. You've all heard of black magic, but not many people have actually seen it. It's just like the people in Huaxia who raise insects. They can do some unimaginable things that science can't explain. Zhuo Meiyan got goosebumps. You're saying that the girl was bewitched? It's not an illness? But even if it is, the people who really know how to use black magic are probably long gone, let alone people who can remove it. That's even more impossible. Chapter 862. This kind of thing will only be believed if it happens to you. Su Yun, if it didn't happen to me, I would never believe in witchcraft. It sounds too unreliable, but it's indeed an unreliable existence. No one can explain it, and no one is willing to experience it. That's enough joking. Su Yun, this isn't a supernatural story club. Ruan Qingxuang still hoped that Su Yun would tell them that it was a joke. Su Yun smiled bitterly. If you didn't agree to let me go to Dongying, I wouldn't want to tell you the real reason. Some things will only make you worry if I tell you. But I'm sure that the daughter of the big boss of the Iguchi group has been cursed by someone. I don't know the reason, but I know that she will die in a week. Unless I help her remove the curse. Lin Gu knew that Su Yun's joke was reasonable. He wouldn't joke about this kind of thing. He had no reason to doubt Su Yun's words. If you help the big boss's daughter remove the curse, you can gain the trust of the big boss of the Iguchi group. He can help you find Muto Ichiro, and then, we can ask Chiou to steal the seeds of the Qi consolidating grass? Yes, that's it. Su Yun nodded. My plan isn't too bad, right? At least it sounds more reliable. What nonsense. Why would the Iguchi group believe you? Zhuo Meiyan said. If they don't believe you, how will you explain it? Fine, even if you save his daughter, if he still doesn't agree to help you find Muto Ichiro, what can you do? Destroy the Iguchi group? Threaten them? Su Yun smiled. He had considered all these things before. There's a saying that goes, when you're sick, try any doctor you can. Now that they have nowhere to go, they have to try everything they can. That's why they spread the news to the world. Whether they believe it or not, as long as I go, they will be willing to try. Even if I fail, they'll just kill me at most. They won't stop me from saving them. If you really fail, they won't let you off, Cho Yun said. I wouldn't do this if I wasn't 100% confident, Su Yun said. I don't want to die young to be used on me. Alright then. How are you going to get the boss of the Iguchi group to help you find Muto Ichiro after saving that girl? Lin Gu quipped, Brother, Sister Yan's question is extremely important. Su Yun shrugged. Of course, he had a card up his sleeve. If I can cure it, then they will definitely believe in the black magic. I only need to say that this black magic was given by Muto Ichiro. Do I still need to ask them to help me find someone? The entire Iguchi Gumi will naturally dig 3 feet into the ground to find Muto Ichiro. Can they deal with Muto Ichiro? Even if they catch Muto Ichiro, they won't hand him over to you. Ruan Qingxuang quipped, If they can't hand him over to you, then we won't be able to get the seed of the spirit consolidating grass. Without that seed, wouldn't all our efforts go to waste? Su Yun replied confidently, Trust me. No one will take the risk to provoke someone who can cast black magic. I just need to tell them to find the person and give me the address. I'll deal with it. Then, everything can proceed according to plan. When the time comes, I just need to trouble Chiou to steal that thing. Xia Chiou chuckled softly. I don't care if you're crazy or not. If you insist on doing this, I can only accompany you in your madness this once. After Su Yun received Xia Chiou's support, he turned his attention to the rest of them. What else could Lin Gu say? No matter what, I have to go with you. I have to guarantee that if you're in danger, I'll be able to help you. Sure. Su Yun, I don't mind having one more person accompany me to Tokyo. Cho Yun also compromised. Since you're all crazy, then I have nothing else to say. If you're going to Tokyo, count me in too. Zhuo Meiyan shook her head helplessly. After all, there are too many temptations in Tokyo. All the famous red light districts in the world are there. I have to guarantee that you won't go looking for fun. Su Yun smiled bitterly. Things had already reached this point. How could he still be in the mood to go to the red light district? Ruan Qingxuang was still frowning. She was the most worried about this because she felt like she couldn't help at all. Sister Shuang, I'll leave Sky Entertainment to you. Su Yun, trust me. I won't disappoint you. If I wasn't 100% confident, I wouldn't have made this decision. This is the only way to find Muto Ichiro. I have no other choice. In the end, Ruan Qingxuang could only compromise. She looked helplessly at Zhua Meiyan. Please take care of them. Don't worry, Zhua Meiyan said. Sky Entertainment is very complicated. You'll encounter a lot of trouble. If there's anything you can't solve, you have to ask Feng Ying for help. She's the person who knows Sky Entertainment the best. I think that with her help, you won't be troubled. I'll do my best. Ruan Qingxuang nodded. Chou Yan wanted to help, but she couldn't because she had to take Guagua back to Shenzhen in the afternoon. That girl had left school for too long. If she continued to be crazy, she probably wouldn't want to come back to school. Xia Qiuyu knew that Su Yun was doing so much to help her find out the real cause of her father's death. Suddenly, she had a better impression of this guy who gave her the first impression of a playboy. Su Yun, thank you. I'm doing this for myself. I should be the one saying thank you. Su Yun, I need you to help me steal something from Muto Ichiro. It's very dangerous. I'll have to trouble you when the time comes. Xia Qiuyu didn't say anything else. She just nodded quietly. I think another girl's heart is going to board your pirate ship. Zhua Meiyan joked. Su Yun. I thought that after taking over Sky Entertainment, I'd be able to tie you down. But now, it seems that no matter what happens, I won't be able to tie you down. Before you go to Dongying, I think there's something you need to do. Su Yun nodded. Of course. Even without Zhua Meiyan's reminder, Su Yun knew that it was the anniversary of Zhang Taisui's death. He needed to pay his respects. Zhang Taisui was the person who changed his life. Without him, he wouldn't be who he was today. Regardless of whether he was a competent godfather or not, regardless of whether he asked for Su Yun's opinion when he sent Su Yun to the Dragon Brigade, everything he did was for Su Yun's sake. Although it wasn't today, sooner or later, Su Yun would understand why Zhang Taisui sent him to the Dragon Brigade and made him undergo hellish training in Dragon's Fury. Chapter 863. There were not many people on the flight to Japan. Perhaps Japan's brainless behavior in recent years had really affected them too much. The tourism industry, the automobile industry, and even the electronics industry had suffered a considerable impact. The most serious impact should be the sales of Japanese cars in Huaxia, followed by the tourism industry. A good-looking girl was talking to her friend about how good Japan was. I really wish I was born in Japan. The Japanese are very ambitious, and Tokyo's income is the highest in the world. The Japanese are very particular about details, and their products are very exquisite. Other than the Germans, who are strict, our Chinese are sloppy, and we just have to make do with it. It's a world of difference from them. The girl sighed. Perhaps it was the first time the other girl went to Japan, so she did not know much. She was somewhat doubtful and said in disbelief, "Is it as good as you say? Why does it sound so unreliable?" Let me tell you, it's all true. Moreover, the competition in Japan is very fair. There are no interpersonal relationships, and the capable have priority. Moreover, the country is stable. No one picks up lost things on the road, and the door is not closed at night. The hygiene is also very clean. It's also the birthplace of the world's high-end equipment. This means that the Japanese have high IQ. I must find a Japanese man and marry him. Then, my children will be smart too. The girl said firmly, moreover, if you live in Japan, you will realize that you don't know what piracy is at all. Whether it's their movies, books, or comics, you won't see any piracy. It's not like Huaxia, which is full of piracy. Although some of her words were not wrong, they were still a little exaggerated. It could be said that she loved Japan because she loved it. For Huaxia people who hated Japan's shameless people who tarnished history, this girl's words were obviously painful. Su Yun did not like it. He did not care how good Japan was. As long as their shameless attitude was not removed, Su Yun would definitely not like this race and country. Yes, Japan is quite good. Zhua Meiyan couldn't help but mock. Japan is the most open country in the world, and the red light district exists openly. As long as you receive a certain number of customers, open a business in a certain area, and operate at a certain time, it's legal. Japanese action romance movies can even be bought in the supermarket on the street. If a girl doesn't have money and wants to buy a bag, she can go to some companies after school and shoot ****** with a few bald uncles she doesn't know. Hearing someone mocking her behind her back, the girl who had been bragging about how good Japan was naturally very unhappy. She glared at Zhua Meiyan and said, "Also, Japanese people don't mock others behind their backs." "The Japanese is your father?" Lin Gu couldn't hold it in any longer. "You have no idea how many despicable and shameless things they've done behind my back, so you better shut up. Don't think that I won't hit a woman. You're so ***king disgusting. Since you're so willing to serve the Japanese, why don't you just become an actress in Japan?" Zhua Meiyan immediately chimed in with Lin Gu. "Who knows, maybe he went to Japan to film a pornographic film. Why did you expose him? Even if you shoot porn in Japan, you have to rely on your own abilities." The girl said angrily, "Humph, a bunch of uncultured people. You're not worthy of going to Japan. Since Japan is so useless in your eyes, why did you go to Japan? I can't be bothered to talk to you idiots. No matter how good the Japanese are, they were once abandoned by Huaxia," Su Yun said. "Some of their bad habits can't be shown on the surface. If they could acknowledge history like the Germans and admit the mistakes they had made in the past, perhaps they would have been forgiven by the world long ago. However, even now, they still refused to acknowledge those things and were still trying to destroy historical evidence by all means. They were even delusional enough to create their own army. As a defeated country, Japan's actions were provocative. It's not just Huaxia. All the countries in the world look down on such people." Cho Yun also said coldly, "That's right. No matter how outstanding the Japanese are, they can't escape their inner ambitions. They are a nation that's unwilling to live in peace. They are a nation that doesn't dare to admit their historical mistakes. This is enough to prove that their high quality is just on the surface." The girl rolled her eyes. "Have your families been massacred by the Japanese? You really have a bad mouth. You're the one with a bad mouth, right? Miss, if you say such disrespectful words again, we can't listen to it anymore." Finally, the girl's words caused public outrage. A middle-aged man said coldly, "My father's generation escaped from the massacre of the Japanese. If you say that, I don't want to hear it." "You look pretty, but I didn't expect you to be a retard," another young man said. "Huaxia people are all descendants of the Yellow Emperor. We're all one family. How many of our compatriots have been killed by the Japanese in Huaxia? If you say that you don't know, then you're really a retard." Although the girl had caused public outrage, she still retorted, "You're the retard. If you're not a retard, why did you go to Japan? None of you have the right to say that to me. Everyone, don't try to persuade her. She's determined to go to Japan to marry a Japanese guy and give birth to a bastard." Zhua Meiyan's tongue was vicious. "We don't expect such a person to be patriotic. We just hope that her offspring with the Japanese won't be educated to resist Huaxia. Humph, if the Japanese continue to court death like this, they'll be abandoned by the entire human race sooner or later." The young man was obviously an angry youth. The air stewardess heard the argument and ran over to ease the atmosphere. However, she felt that this matter was quite troublesome and didn't know how to say it. "All right, everyone calm down." In the end, it was Su Yun who stopped them. "Everyone has their own aspirations. None of us can stop or control other people's thoughts, right? Since she likes the Japanese, then let her like it. What's the point of saying so much? The middle-aged man smiled and replied, Yes, this brother is right. Everyone has their own aspirations. It's a pity that some people don't have aspirations, but hemorrhoids. Zhua Meiyen's vicious tongue was so sharp that even Cho Yun couldn't help but laugh when she heard it, let alone Lin Gu, who didn't bother to hide his laughter. Su Yun shook his head helplessly and looked at the girl who liked the Japanese. She was confused. Sigh, how sad. A Hua Xia didn't even learn her own language well. She couldn't even understand the subtext of her aspirations and hemorrhoids. How could she praise the Japanese all day long? Forget it, let her be. She already treated all the Japanese as good people. Sooner or later, she would suffer a great loss. Xia Qiuyu sat quietly the whole time. She was re-evaluating Su Yun's character and wasn't disturbed at all. About an hour later, the flight finally landed at Tokyo Airport. After a series of turbulence, the plane landed smoothly. Su Yun unbuckled his seatbelt and stretched. He looked out the window and couldn't help but feel like he was about to enter Tokyo. After walking out of the airport, Lin Gu said sourly, I have to say, the Japanese really cleaned up the city. The Chinese really need to learn. Chapter 864. Although the hotel that Zhua Meiyen booked had a complete set of entertainment facilities, Su Yun didn't have time to visit and learn from them. After putting down his things at the hotel, he prepared to leave. I'll leave Choyu to you guys. Su Yun said to Zhua Meiyen and Cho Yun, if nothing goes wrong, I'll be able to gain the trust of Iguchi Kagoro very soon. Removing the black magic requires some preparation and time. You guys have to be patient. Pigeon and I will rush back as soon as we're done. Cho Yun told Su Yun to rest assured that she would take good care of Xia Qiuyu. Xia Qiuyu smiled. I'm an adult. I can take care of myself. You, on the other hand, make us more worried. I hope you'll have a smooth journey. With me around, you guys don't have to worry about my brother's safety. Lin Gu said confidently, if any Japanese dares to cause trouble for my brother, I'll definitely make them lie in the hospital. If I can't even do that, I'll have wasted all my years. You guys do your thing. It's not easy for us to come to Japan. We definitely need to relax. Zhua Meiyen joked. I heard that the brothels in Japan are very special. Maybe it's worth a visit. Su Yun smiled bitterly. I'm afraid that brothels won't open until night time, right? All the brothels are resting at this time. You should stop. What's wrong? Are you jealous? Zhua Meiyen giggled. Don't worry. I won't let those stinky Japanese men take advantage of me. After leaving the hotel, Su Yun and Lin Gu quickly found Iguchi Kagoro's mansion in Tokyo according to the address they knew. It had to be said that the strength of this family was really terrifying. In such a densely populated city like Tokyo, sitting on such a large area of vintage mansions, it was really shocking. Su Yun and Lin Gu didn't have any communication problems, so it wasn't difficult for them to communicate with the Japanese. We're here to see Mr. Iguchi. Please inform him. Su Yun was stopped by the two men at the door. They went straight to the point and said, maybe we have a way to solve Miss Nagako Iguchi's illness. After hearing Su Yun's intentions, the two people at the door became much friendlier. One of them immediately said, please wait for a moment, I will go and inform Mr. Iguchi. 10 minutes later, a woman in a kimono arrived and led Su Yun and Lin Gu into the mansion. Please follow me, gentlemen. A doctor is treating the young lady right now. Mr. Iguchi may not be able to come over until later. Someone is treating Miss. Lin Gu was stunned for a moment. How's the effect? This was also a question Su Yun wanted to know, but the woman shook her head. I don't know. I hope Mrs. Condition can improve. Su Yun and Lin Gu were led to a room. The woman in the kimono brewed tea and then turned to leave. Lin Gu, who was not used to sitting cross-legged, felt awkward. However, the tea was quite delicious. Moreover, in terms of tea ceremony, the Japanese really inherited the fine tradition of Hua Xia and carried it forward. Brother, The young lady of the Iguchi group really doesn't lack doctors, Lingu said. How confident are you that Iguchi Kagoro will believe us? It seems that it's very easy for Iguchi Kagoro to find a famous doctor, Suyun said. He should have realized that his daughter's condition is not caused by an illness. This is beneficial to us. When so many doctors are at their wits' end, he will definitely choose to believe us. Lingu scratched his head and prepared for the worst. But what if he doesn't believe us? What should we do? If he doesn't believe us, he will definitely treat us as charlatans. Su-yun, the Iguchi group is not to be trifled with. Iguchi Kagoro will definitely not let a charlatan who dares to come to his door and cheat him off easily. If it really comes to that, I can only rely on you to bring me out. Lingu rubbed his palms. I think it'll work. You'd better not think that way. That's the last resort. Su-yun, our purpose here is to convince Iguchi Kagoro not to fight with the Japanese to vent our anger. If we can't convince Iguchi Kagoro today, we won't have any other way to find Muto Ichiro. I know. Lingu nodded. Exorcising the black magic comes first, fighting comes second. Su-yun smiled helplessly and took a sip of tea. It was indeed not bad. However, Su-yun and Lingu did not expect to wait for an hour. Not to mention that Iguchi Kagoro did not come, the tea was already tasteless, and they did not see anyone come to greet them. Everyone says that the Japanese are especially particular about hospitality. What kind of hospitality is this? Lingu finally lost his patience and complained. If I knew they were like this, we wouldn't have come. Let his daughter be sick. Damn, the more I think about it, the more unhappy I get. Su-yun was more open-minded. I'm afraid that Iguchi Kagoro has received countless famous doctors at home. Everyone disappoints him. If it were you, you wouldn't have too much hope for the new doctor either. He's already being very kind by getting someone to make us a pot of tea. Just as their legs were about to go numb, the woman in the kimono who had brought them here previously appeared in front of them again. She bowed embarrassedly and said, There have been a lot of things going on recently, so please forgive us for any neglect. I hope the two of you don't mind. It's okay. We don't mind. We understand. Su-yun, however, I wonder how long it will take for us to see Mr. Iguchi? We can wait as long as we want, but I'm afraid the young lady can't wait any longer. The woman in the kimono glanced at Su-yun. Please follow me. Mr. Iguchi is already waiting for the two of you. The two of them stood up and walked around the retro mansion with the woman in the kimono for 2 minutes before arriving at the room where Iguchi Kagoro was waiting for them. Unlike what they had imagined, Iguchi Kagoro was not wearing the traditional clothes of Japan. He was only wearing simple casual clothes. Su-yun's first impression of him was not his slightly fierce face with scars, but his worried white sideburns. As the leader of the Iguchi group in Japan, Iguchi Kagoro's dignity was very obvious. When he saw Su-yun and Lingu, two young people, in front of him, he could not help but frown. Mr. Iguchi, these two are the guests who just came, the woman in the kimono said. Iguchi Kagoro waved his hand, and the woman in the kimono turned around and left. Facing Iguchi Kagoro's doubtful gaze, Su-yun did not say anything. Instead, he met Iguchi Kagoro's gaze with a confident gaze. Half a minute later, Iguchi Kagoro finally spoke and went straight to the point. Can the two of you cure my daughter's illness? Of course. If we can't, we wouldn't be standing in front of Mr. Iguchi. Su-yun, I came to your residence because I was completely confident. Chapter 865. Lingu said boldly, Mr. Iguchi, if you judge by age, it's a big mistake. A capable person doesn't have to be old and clumsy, and an old and clumsy person doesn't have to be a truly capable person. Iguchi Kagoro glanced at Lingu and could conclude that he was just another person's follower. Soon, he turned his gaze to Su-yun. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Su-yun, and he is my brother, Lingu. Su-yun, Mr. Iguchi, I understand your feelings. If I were you, I would also doubt what these two young people can do. But for Miss Iguchi Nego's sake, I still suggest you give me a few minutes to listen. Iguchi Kagoro frowned. You are from Huaxia? Yes. Su Yun. We are from Huaxia. Good. Iguchi Kagoro said, I'll give you a few minutes to tell me how sure you are that you can cure my daughter. But you'd better be prepared. If I feel that my time is wasted, I won't forgive you easily. At the same time, if you can really cure my daughter, I will also thank you. No matter what you ask, no matter what conditions you have, I will agree to them. Su Yun smiled slightly. Mr. Iguchi, we are not here for any benefits. We just don't want anyone to be hurt and tortured. Please forgive my bluntness, but Miss Iguchi Nego is not sick at all. So, no matter how many famous doctors you invite, it will be in vain. Not sick. Iguchi Kagoro was stunned. This was definitely the most special answer among the many people who came to diagnose his daughter. They didn't even see his daughter, and they said that she was not sick? If not, then what is the situation? Iguchi Kagoro asked himself to be patient. He had no other choice. If these two young people could really bring him some special news, it might not be a bad thing. Su Yun said firmly, Miss Iguchi Nego was cast with black magic. Black magic? Iguchi Kagoro's eyes suddenly widened, and he frowned. Su Yun, Kuan, I don't understand what you're saying. What do you mean by tame head? If you continue to spout nonsense here, I can guarantee that you won't have the chance to walk out alive. You better listen to what my brother has to say. Lin Gu said, we came here with good intentions to save people. We don't have the time to talk nonsense with you. We also have no reason to do that. It made sense. Iguchi Kagoro understood that no one would be stupid enough to talk nonsense with him at this time. Everyone knew the consequences of offending him. No one was willing to cause trouble for themselves. Since that was the case, there was no harm in hearing what this young man had to say. Black magic is a type of witchcraft in Southeast Asia. This is a type of witchcraft that evolved from the combination of Huaxia's witchcraft and local witchcraft after it spread to Southeast Asia. It can save people from life and death, and it can also harm people invisibly. Su Yun, the caster only needs to get Miss Iguchi Nego's birth date, the 5 elements of life, hair, nails, or other things. He can use a primer to make her inadvertently consume it. It will produce special medicinal properties and toxins on the human body, thus achieving the purpose of controlling and harming the caster. Iguchi Kagoro heard this as if he was listening to a book from heaven. It could be said that he didn't understand it at all. Su Yun continued, the person who is under black magic will start to have bad luck, and there will be a lot of people around him. His back will feel shaky, and there will be teeth marks on both sides of his tongue. There will be an unusual feeling of crawling and pain in his muscles, and there will be night sweats and fatigue all over his body. This is the embodiment of the backlash. After a long time, the caster will be over-controlled and begin to lose control of himself. If Mr. Iguchi doesn't believe me, you can think about whether Miss Iguchi Nego has these conditions that I said. At this moment, Iguchi Kagoro was completely shocked. Indeed, a month ago, Miss Iguchi Nego's luck began to deteriorate. Everything she did didn't go well, and she was deceived by her friends. Not long after, her body had these reactions that Su Yun said. Even sitting still would cause night sweats, and she would often be listless. She would lie down for the whole day. I have never seen Miss Iguchi Nego. If she has these conditions that I said, then she must be under black magic. Su Yun, someone wants to hurt her, but because of the strength of the Iguchi Gumi, they can only use witchcraft. Although this method sounds unimaginable, it's a real thing. Iguchi Kagoro was silent for a while. Su Yun, Kuan, I admit that these conditions you said do exist. Why does such witchcraft exist? And who is hurting my daughter? Su Yun shook his head. Mr. Iguchi, these things are not something that I can explain. However, if you want to know who put black magic on your daughter, it is possible to find out. How? Iguchi Kagoro's murderous intent instantly intensified. Su Yun continued, This requires me to first remove the black magic on Miss Iguchi Nego, and then I can find out. It is impossible for others to find out. You can. Iguchi Kagoro was a little excited. He walked to Su-yun and hugged Su-yun's shoulder. Can you really save my daughter? And find that damn guy? If I can't, I won't be standing in front of you. Su-yun said lightly, Mr. Iguchi, let me say this. If Miss Iguchi Nego's condition appears for more than a month, her life will be in danger at any time. As long as the spellcaster over-controls the connected puppet or something, she can hurt anyone, including herself. Iguchi Kagoro hadn't felt this kind of fear for a long time. Just a few days ago, his daughter actually wanted to stab him with a knife. This matter had already made him restless. Now he had tied his daughter to the bed and arranged for people to watch her day and night. But even so, his daughter had used a terrifying power to break free from the ropes yesterday, and had almost caused a disaster. Su-yun, Kuin, as long as you can save my daughter and find the person who harmed my daughter, no matter what you want, I will agree to it. Iguchi Kagoro said, even if you want half of my Iguchi Gumi's world, I will not hesitate to give it to you. But you have to promise me that if what you do causes harm to my daughter, I will not hesitate to kill you. Now we are here to help you. You'd better speak politely, Lin Gu said unhappily. Su-yun raised his hand to signal Lin Gu not to talk nonsense. As long as he gained Iguchi Kagoro's trust, the matter of finding Muto Ichiro was half done. Mr. Yamaguchi, time waits for no one. The sooner I see Miss Iguchi Nego, the greater the chance of saving her. Chapter 866. After Iguchi Kagoro brought Su-yun and Lin Gu to the door of Nako Iguchi's room, Su-yun reached out and signaled that Lin Gu did not have to go in with them, as long as he guarded the door. Although there were people from the Iguchi Gumi at the door of Nako Iguchi's room, Iguchi Kagoro did not question Su-yun's arrangement for Lin Gu. Now, Su-yun was obviously a master in his eyes. If he was not a master, he would not have said so many symptoms that matched his daughter's. The two walked into Nako Iguchi's room. Nako Iguchi was lying on the bed with her hands and feet tied. Recently, her mental state had been on the verge of collapse. Her murderous heart and self-mutilation heart were completely out of control. Iguchi Kagoro had no choice but to do this. After all, no one would be willing to tie their child to the bed and almost unable to move. Mr. Iguchi. Seeing Iguchi Kagoro enter the room, several servants in the room stood up and greeted him. At the same time, they also bowed to Su-yun. Recently, Iguchi Kagoro had invited too many people to treat the young lady, so they were not surprised and were ready to listen to orders at any time. When Iguchi Kagoro saw his daughter's pitiful appearance, he felt a burst of heart-wrenching pain. To be honest, he no longer had any hope. He had invited so many doctors in the hope that they could alleviate some of his daughter's pain. The hope of eradicating the situation had been extinguished too many times, so Iguchi Kagoro could no longer rekindle the flame in his heart. Today, Su-yun once again rekindled the flame in his heart and rekindled his hope. Therefore, his respect for Su-yun was gradually increasing. It could be seen from the way he addressed him. Mr. Su, my daughter is in your hands. Everything is in your hands. Dad, ask them to let me go. I'm scared. I don't want to do this. Nako Iguchi was 20 years old. She was in the prime of her youth. She was very beautiful and did not inherit any of Iguchi Kagoro's shortcomings. On her delicate face, her facial features were delicate and pretty. Her slightly raised red lips could arouse men's desire. At least when Su-yun first saw her, he thought of the heroine in the Japanese *****************. Mr. Iguchi, can you let your people go out first? Su-yun, I need a quiet environment. Iguchi Kagoro did not say a word. He waved his hand, and many servants who were still in the room just now got up, left and closed the door. Nako, this is the master. You are not sick, but the witchcraft of the evil witchcraft. You. Don't worry, Dad will save you. Iguchi Kagoro comforted. Asked Su, Tu, what kind Tota Tutu is? If I didn't guess wrong, this is Ghost Summon. Su Yun said lightly. Ghost Summon referred to the two masters who specialized in raising ghosts. The ghosts raised could help the two masters do things. They could be assistants when casting spells. Moreover, they came and went without a trace. If someone wanted to attack or frame them, they could inform them. Some two masters also gave the ghosts they raised to ordinary people. If they knew how to do business, their business would be prosperous and their career would be smooth. This was all thanks to the help of the ghosts. However, if you want to cast spells to raise ghosts, you first have to find the child who has died and get the birth date of the child. After the funeral, in the dark, secretly come to the grave to burn incense and worship. At the same time, use spells to draw the soul and plant a vine that could still grow in front of the grave. After a period of time, the soul was attached to the vine. The two master chanted the burning spell and took a piece of the vine. After that, he quickly returned home and carved the vine into a small puppet of a few centimeters high with a knife. He painted the puppet's facial features and clothes with ink and cinnabar. At the same time, he kept chanting spells. The completed puppet was hidden in a pocket-sized bottle with grease. This kind of grease was made from the secret of witchcraft. It was golden in color. Usually, there would be two little puppets soaked in a glass bottle used to raise ghosts. These two little puppets, one black and one white, were a man and a woman. It was said that the soul of a man and a woman had to be hooked. If only one soul was hidden in the bottle, the soul would not be able to grow and the soul would not be able to grow. It would be too lonely and the soul would want to escape. Another way to raise ghosts was to find a piece of wood and cast spells to carve it into a small coffin. Then, he would look for the grave of a boy or a girl. The evil ghost master would dig out the coffin of a baby or a dead fetus and take the head of the dead away. Then, he would light a secret yellow witchcraft candle and burn it near the chin of the corpse. The heat would turn the fat into corpse oil and drip down. The two master would immediately take out the prepared coffin and store the corpse oil in it. After chanting spells, he would secretly bring it back. After 49 days of casting spells, the soul would listen to orders and obey orders. Before summoning the little ghost, he would first chant spells and tell them what to do. The little ghost would immediately do it as fast as possible. However, the two master who wanted to raise ghosts also had to have strong magic power. Otherwise, not only would he not be able to subdue the ghost, but he would also be harmed by the ghost in the end. This kind of to master was a very evil witchcraft. Naturally, it was more difficult to resolve. Mr. Su, you are a master. You must have a way to help my daughter remove this spell, right? Just hearing the word ghost, Iguchi Kagoro felt goosebumps all over his body. The two master created by a powerful to master is often impossible to resolve except for him. If you don't know the situation and beg him to save you, it will often become a fatal disease that can't be cured. Su Yun, fortunately, in my opinion, this to master who wants to harm you is not a brilliant person, and the little ghost he raised has not been alive for long. It is not difficult to break it. A big stone in Iguchi Kagoro's heart was instantly lifted. Su Yun motioned for Iguchi Kagoro to also retreat. He needed an absolutely quiet space to chant the cracking spell to cast the spell. Iguchi Kagoro did not dare to delay and quickly left his daughter's boudoir. Su Yun took out the talisman bag that he had prepared in Huaxia. There were things he needed to break the spell in it. Nako Iguchi was possessed by a ghost. Seeing this situation, the soul that was controlling her body naturally would not sit still and wait for death. Suddenly, Nako Iguchi broke out a powerful force and directly broke all the ropes that tied her hands and feet. She got out of bed and walked to Su Yun. What a powerful control! Su Yun could not help but be shocked by this powerful control. It seemed that although the person who raised the ghost was not powerful, the ghost he raised was full of evil thoughts. In this case, it could turn the tables and directly control Nako Iguchi's body. Thinking of this, Su Yun could not help but move faster. He had to find a talisman to put pressure on Nako Iguchi's body. If this continued, Nako Iguchi's body would not be able to bear it and would definitely collapse. Just as Su-yun took out a pre-written talisman from the talisman bag, Nako Iguchi threw herself directly into Su-yun's body, raised her head, and kissed Su-yun's mouth with her red lips. This was a bit too sudden. Su-yun did not have time to react and was directly pushed against the wall by Nako Iguchi. Chapter 867. Under the control of the body, Iguchi Nego could not control herself at all. Her body was tightly attached to Su-yun's body, constantly rubbing up and down. She even took the initiative to pick up Su-yun's left hand and clasped it on her chest, allowing Su-yun to knead it, enjoying the process of caressing. If Su-yun was not in such a state where he could not circulate his chi, he might have already flipped her over. But now, he could only allow Iguchi Nego to flip him over on the bed, straddling him, and rubbing the area below Su-yun's lower abdomen back and forth. It was not easy to resist the erosion of this temptation. Most men would have the same thought at this time. If I die under a peony, I'll be a romantic ghost. And Su-yun was very clear that once he fell into this situation, he would fall into eternal damnation. Do you like me? Iguchi Nego's attack was still unabated. She suddenly tore off her shirt and lay on Su-yun's body. Don't suppress your feelings. I know what you want to do to me. I'm right here. You can do whatever you want to me. Love me. Use your actions to prove to me whether you're a real man or not. If not for the fact that he knew that this Japanese girl was possessed by a demonic spirit, Su-yun would not have been able to control himself. He really wanted to prove that he was more of a real man than the men in Japan. But now, when Su-yun thought of those little ghosts that were being raised, he felt disgusted. Relying on this disgusting feeling, Su-yun lifted his knee and flipped Iguchi Nego over on top of him. He quickly picked up the talisman that he had written earlier. The moment Iguchi Nego pounced on him again, he stuck the talisman on Iguchi Nego's chest. He chanted silently, Abaguti Imulagyuk. Iguchi Nego's body suddenly straightened up on the bed. She looked at Su-yun with a painful and ferocious expression, as if the spell that Su-yun chanted was completely unbearable for her. After subduing Nako Iguchi, Su-yun quickly pasted another talisman on her forehead and began to chant a spell that no one could understand. Just as Su-yun's voice fell, Nego Iguchi seemed to have gone mad. She hugged her head in pain and struggled in the room. Almost everything in the room was smashed. In the end, Nego Iguchi almost flipped the bed over. Of course, the people outside the door could hear the loud noise inside. How could Iguchi Kagoro hold back? Just as he was about to break in, Lin Gu grabbed his wrist and said, Mr. Iguchi, there's an old saying in Huaxia, don't doubt the people you use, don't use those you doubt. Since you've chosen to believe in us, then don't ruin it. But, inside, Iguchi Kagoro's struggle was understandable. It's not easy for my brother to remove this black magic. If you open the door now and ruin it, not only will you not be able to save Miss Nego, I'm afraid that all of us present will be threatened by the same danger. Lin Gu said, I won't let you in. If you insist on doing that, I can only be disrespectful. Lin Gu was very clear about the seriousness of this matter, so even if there was a risk of falling out, he absolutely could not let Iguchi Kagoro in. Iguchi Kagoro's face was gloomy. This was his home. It was not the place for a young man to make irresponsible remarks, right? Before he could get angry, the noise in the room suddenly stopped. Only the sound of Su-yun silently chanting a spell could be heard. Iguchi Kagoro was stunned. His hand that was about to open the door finally fell after Lin Gu stopped him. Well, I believe in you. I hope you won't let me down. If anything happens to my daughter, I will not let you go. As long as you can calm down, Miss Nego Iguchi will not be in any danger. Lin Gu also breathed a sigh of relief. Under the control of the two talismans, the tame head imp that was attached to Nego Iguchi's body was basically completely controlled. Su-yun finally breathed a sigh of relief. He took out the black dog's blood that he had prepared before. Regardless of whether Nego Iguchi liked the taste or not, he directly poured it into her mouth. It was unknown whether it was the effect of the smell of blood or the black dog's blood, but Nego Iguchi suddenly turned over and sat up. With a cry, she spat out a black mass. Su Yun used a lighter to ignite a talisman and threw it onto the black thing. With a roar, the flame lit up the entire room. Nego Iguchi breathed heavily and looked at Su Yun in panic. She clearly remembered what she had just done, but she could not control her behavior at all. Just like a few days ago, she knew everything she had done, but she could not control it. "You are fine now," Su Yun said. "The world is so big. There are always some things that can't be explained. I hope you can forget this experience in the future." After that, Su Yun handed a dark gray object to Nego Iguchi. "Carry this with you in the future. No one will cast black magic on you anymore." Nego Iguchi pulled her torn clothes with her left hand to cover her exposed body. At the same time, she took the object that Su Yun handed to her and asked, "What is this?" "Black dog bone." Su Yun shrugged. "The person who wears this will not be disturbed by tame head. Although I don't know what you did to offend that kind of person, tame head imps are not that easy to deal with. If you want to be safe, you'd better listen to me." "Thank you." Nego Iguchi's gratitude came from the bottom of her heart. Su Yun waved his hand. "Don't be so polite. In fact, when you were first affected by tame head, you could have just stayed in the hospital for half a day. I wouldn't have needed to do so much. The filthy blood in the hospital would naturally wash away the evil energy. After the tame head imps escaped, the tame head imps would be broken." "How do you know so much?" Nego Iguchi was puzzled. Could it be that the person in front of her was also a tame head imps who knew dark magic? "Because I was once affected by tame head imps like you." Su Yun. When he led the Dragon Fury team on a mission in Nanyang, he was a drug lord and arms dealer who hated Su Yun to the core. He spared no expense to hire the most famous tame head imps in Nanyang to cast tame head imps on Su Yun. Su Yun almost died because of tame head imps at that time. He didn't want to hurt too many people before he died, so when he was sober, he decided to hide in the forest alone. This way, he could avoid hurting others. It was this decision that allowed Su Yun to meet the most terrifying tame head imps in Nanyang's primeval forest. Not only did he help Su Yun get rid of tame head imps, but he also destroyed the tame head imps who cast tame head imps on Su Yun. Su Yun only believed that such things really existed in the world after that time. Later, Su Yun learned how to remove tame head imps. There was a saying, "You have head imps, I have tail imps. If you head imps, I head imps." This way, he could directly kill the other party by controlling them to raise ghosts. However, Su Yun didn't have the ability to do that. He could only use this method to track down the tame head imps' whereabouts, but he couldn't directly kill them. Chapter 868. Just now, I sensed that the tame head sorcerer was at the Shinagawa Prince Hotel in Shinagawa. Su Yun took Lin Gu to the side and whispered, "I'm not sure about the specific room, but I'm sure that you can see Mount Fuji on the west side of the room, and Tokyo Bay on the east side. Even in the Shinagawa Prince Hotel, there aren't many rooms like this." Su Yun didn't need Iguchi Kagoro to know about this, because if he wanted Iguchi Kagoro to find Muto Ichiro as soon as possible, he needed to frame Muto Ichiro for this matter. After all, Muto Ichiro's backer was the Japanese cabinet. Even if the Iguchi group was powerful, they wouldn't get into trouble for unnecessary things. If Iguchi Kagoro knew that Muto Ichiro was a tame head sorcerer, he would definitely find him no matter how big the risk. Lin Gu nodded. "I don't need to show mercy to someone who knows evil witchcraft, right?" "Of course not." Su Yun said coldly. "I broke his witchcraft, and he can sense my presence. If I give him a chance, he will definitely find a way to use tame head on me to get rid of me. You don't have much time. If the spell fails, he will definitely escape immediately. Once he leaves that room, I won't be able to determine his location. If my guess is right, he will have enough time to pack up and leave Shinagawa in an hour. At that time, I will be the one in trouble." Lin Gu calculated for a moment. The distance from here to the Shinagawa Prince Hotel wasn't too far. It was enough. "Brother, don't worry. I definitely won't let a person who's dangerous to you leave Japan alive. An hour ago, Iguchi Kagoro still had some doubts about his respect for Su Yun, but now, his respect for Su Yun was absolutely sincere. Nako Iguchi also changed her clothes and personally offered Su Yun tea to thank him. If it weren't for Su Yun, she wouldn't have been able to escape death. Mr. Su, I have no words to express my gratitude. Iguchi Kagoro said, I promised you before that if you could save my daughter, I would be willing to pay any price. In the future, the Iguchi group will be mine, and also yours. Everyone in the Iguchi Gumi is under your command. Other than that, if you have any other requests, feel free to state them. Su Yun smiled and said, Iguchi-san, the matter is not over yet. The spellcaster has not been dealt with yet. None of us can completely escape the danger of being possessed by a ghost. So, you don't have to thank me in such a hurry. We still have things to do. Mr. Su, if there's anything I can help you with, you can tell me. I, Iguchi Kagoro, will do my best. Iguchi Kagoro also wanted to find the guy who hurt his daughter. Only by killing that kind of person with his own hands would he be able to vent the hatred in his heart. Su Yun put down the teacup in his hand. Because I'm not strong enough, I can't counterattack at the same time. However, I can sense who the other party is. I don't know where this person is. It would be difficult for me to find him on my own. But the Iguchi Gumi has a lot of people. If Mr. Iguchi is willing to help, I believe it won't be difficult for us to find him. Of course I'm willing. Iguchi Kagoro said. Mr. Iguchi, I understand how you feel, but I still have to tell you that once you find him, you can't let your people act rashly. Su Yun, black magic masters can't be dealt with using conventional methods. If your people are exposed, the Iguchi Gumi will be in even greater danger. I'll also be in trouble because of this. So, before I tell you who did it, you have to promise me that you'll only be in charge of finding him. Leave the rest to me. That's the only way we can all be safe. Iguchi Kagoro nodded repeatedly. I'll do whatever Mr. Su says. I won't act rashly. Now, I'm very clear about the severity of the matter. I hope Mr. Su can give me some pointers. Su Yun smiled and said, Perhaps this person is someone Mr. Iguchi doesn't want to offend. As he spoke, Su Yun paused for a moment to keep him in suspense. Iguchi Kagoro frowned. In Japan, there weren't many people he didn't want to offend. Of course, if the other party was a black magic master, even if he was just a beggar on the street, he didn't want to offend him. The black magic master is Muto Ichiro, Su Yun said. The shock on Iguchi Kagoro's face was no less than seeing a ghost with his own eyes. How was this possible? Muto Ichiro was from the Japanese cabinet. Soon, his expression improved. Perhaps the Muto Ichiro that Su Yun was talking about wasn't the Muto Ichiro that he was thinking of. Through the changes in Iguchi Kagoro's expression, Su Yun naturally understood what he was thinking. He continued, Mr. Iguchi, the Muto Ichiro I'm talking about is definitely not someone with the same name. He's the one you know. The leader of the Black Tomb Special Forces. Iguchi Kagoro's heart was in his mouth again. He widened his eyes and said, Mr. Su Yun, this is impossible, right? If Mr. Iguchi doesn't believe me, I have nothing to say. Su Yun said, After all, it does sound a little unbelievable. I won't force Mr. Iguchi to do anything. However, if Mr. Iguchi doesn't believe me, I need to leave Japan immediately. You have to know that I'm also in danger. The ocean is a natural barrier against black magic. If you can't help me find Muto Ichiro, I can only leave and escape. As for you guys, I suggest that you cross the ocean and stay away from Japan. Otherwise, the next black magic won't be so simple. Su Yun's words made Iguchi Kagoro break out in a cold sweat. The more he listened, the more he felt that this matter was unfathomable. However, he had to admit that he was afraid in his heart. After having a daughter, he no longer had any doubts about black magic. This thing was based on the 5 elements and was too difficult to guard against. Why would he do this? Iguchi Kagoro was puzzled. Su Yun shook his head. I don't know. The Iguchi group must have offended them in some way, right? Iguchi Kagoro suddenly gritted his teeth. Could it be because of that matter? Humph, he just didn't want to participate in the cabinet's matters. Would he offend them because of this? Mr. Iguchi, time waits for no one. I hope you can give me an answer as soon as possible. Su-yun said, if you don't want to do that, I have to leave immediately before I'm affected. Now that the enemy is in the dark and I'm in the light, I'm in more danger than anyone else. I hope you can understand. Although I'm here to save Miss Iguchi Nego, I won't lose my life because of this. How did my daughter get affected by black magic? Iguchi Kagoro gritted his teeth. Su-yun looked at Nego Iguchi. A month ago, did you eat or drink something given to you by a stranger? If there's anything unusual, you can recall it. A month ago. Nego Iguchi pondered for a while. Except for a very special cocktail I drank at the bar, there's nothing else, right? Is it because that cup of wine looks like it's steaming hot, but the cup doesn't feel hot to the touch, and it doesn't have any temperature when you drink it? Su-yun frowned. That was what happened when one was drugged. Yes. How did you know? Nego Iguchi was shocked. That was indeed the case, so she was very curious and drank the glass of wine happily. Chapter 869. That was indeed the case. After that, Nako Iguchi often felt unwell, and no matter what she did, she was particularly unlucky. There were more and more people around her. It turned out that everything that happened to her was caused by that strange glass of wine. Do you remember who gave you that glass of wine? Iguchi Kagoro said helplessly. He had been busy with the Iguchi group's affairs, and his discipline of his daughter was somewhat too accommodating. If he had controlled his daughter from going to the bar from the first time, there wouldn't have been today's trouble. Nako Iguchi shook her head. I don't remember. I only remember that glass of wine that day. I don't remember anything else. Black magic can erase all the memories he wants to erase, Su-yun said. Because by doing so, you can't remember his true face. Mr. Iguchi, I know you still don't believe me, but if you want Miss Nako to remember the person who gave her that glass of wine that day, it's impossible. Mr. Su, I really don't believe it. Iguchi Kagoro said, Muto Ichiro is not a guy to be trifled with. If he wants to deal with my daughter, maybe he doesn't need to use this method, right? Su-yun nodded and said, he is indeed not to be trifled with, but you just need to help me find him, and I'll take care of the rest. Mr. Iguchi, please believe me, he is definitely not that easy to find now. If you can find him in a reasonable place, then you can doubt what I said. But you can't find him in a reasonable place, because if he uses black magic, he must be hiding in a place where no one usually comes into contact with him. I'm 100% sure of this. With Su-yun's words, Iguchi Kagoro's suspicions were dispelled a lot. Then he inquired about Muto Ichiro in a reasonable place. Relying on his connections, Iguchi Kagoro confirmed one thing after a few phone calls. Those who usually came into contact with Muto Ichiro all gave the same answer. Muto Ichiro disappeared a month ago, and no one could find him. Even the commander-in-chief of the self-defense forces they belonged to hadn't seen him for a month. This news made Iguchi Kagoro break out in a cold sweat again. It seemed that Su-yun was right. Muto Ichiro was too suspicious. Because a month ago, Nego Iguchi began to act strangely. Iguchi Kagoro could not believe that this had nothing to do with Muto Ichiro. Damn bastard! Iguchi Kagoro said angrily, my Iguchi Gumi has never done anything to provoke him. How dare he do this to my daughter? I won't let him off. Iguchi-san, remember what you promised me. You're only in charge of finding them. Leave the rest to me. Su-yun, if you do something that I don't allow you to do, it will only make things worse. I believe you don't want your family to be in danger again. Iguchi Kagoro's chest heaved up and down because of his anger. Mr. Su, I promise you that I won't mess around. I will arrange for everyone in the Iguchi Gumi to help you find him. I will give you an answer as soon as possible. Trust me. Of course, I believe in Mr. Iguchi's ability. But you're not helping me, you're helping yourself. Su-yun emphasized this point again. In that case, I'll take my leave first. Hearing that Su-yun was about to leave, Nego Iguchi hurriedly said, You're leaving? Don't you want to stay here? Iguchi Kagoro also wanted Su-yun to stay. Yes, Mr. Su, you can stay here. Let me express my gratitude to you. My daughter is not talented, but she is good at cooking. I also hope that she can use her actions to express her gratitude to Mr. Su. After all, Su-yun did not come to Japan alone. However, just as he was about to decline, Nego Iguchi pleaded again. Mr. Su, please give me a chance to express my gratitude. Please. It was true to say that Japanese people paid attention to etiquette. Seeing Iguchi Nagako bow so sincerely, Su-yun really didn't know how to refuse. Mr. Su, if you leave, my daughter will be very worried. Iguchi Kagoro said, I represent the entire Iguchi Gumi to beg you to stay. I will use the fastest time to find Muto Ichiro's whereabouts. Thinking that this could motivate Iguchi Kagoro to find him as soon as possible, Su-yun did not decline. Then I'll accept your invitation. Iguchi Kagoro immediately arranged for someone to prepare a guest room for Su-yun. Nego Iguchi also personally prepared real Japanese cuisine for Su-yun to express her gratitude. After Su-yun rested in the room for a while, he saw that it was about time. He called Lin Gu to ask about the situation. Brother, your call came at the right time. Lin Gu said, This Nanyang tame head is not simple. He has some ability. So you've settled it, Su-yun said. Aha, it's settled. Lin Gu said, Should I go back to pick you up or go back to the hotel first? Su-yun, you go back to the hotel first. I might have to stay here so that I can be the first to know the latest news about Iguchi Kagoro's search. Go to the hotel and let them know. Don't let them worry. With the Iguchi Gumi's influence in Japan, I believe they will be able to find Muto Ichiro soon. Lin Gu laughed evilly. Are you sure you're staying there to wait for news? And not because of that little girl Nego's impressive figure? Get lost. Su-yun laughed and cursed as he hung up the phone. However, he had to admit that Nego Iguchi's figure was indeed hot. At least, everything she did to him when she was possessed almost made him lose control of himself. The sky gradually darkened, and Nego Iguchi's feast arrived as scheduled. With top-notch ingredients and top-notch techniques, Su-yun was quite surprised. He did not expect the eldest daughter of the Iguchi Gumi to have such good culinary skills. Whoever had the chance to marry her in the future would be really lucky. However, a young man who could catch the eye of the Iguchi Gumi's big boss must have some real ability. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to marry Nego Iguchi. Mr. Su, let me toast you for everything you've done. Iguchi Kagoro raised the sake in front of him. Su-yun was not interested in the sake, but after all, he still needed Iguchi Kagoro to find the person, so he could not refuse. He drank the sake in his glass and said, Mr. Iguchi, time waits for no man. I wonder if you've already arranged for the search? Of course, the Iguchi Gumi people have already started a carpet search. Iguchi Kagoro said, Anywhere in Japan, as long as there are people from the Iguchi Gumi, they have already taken action. I believe they will do their best. I also said that whoever finds Muto Ichiro first will be rewarded with 100 million yen. Chapter 870. Although Iguchi Kagoro hoped to toast Su-yun a few more times, the Iguchi group had encountered some unexpected situations that required his attention. Over the past month, Iguchi Kagoro had delayed a lot of things because of his daughter. The longer some things were delayed, the more difficult it was to deal with them. After weighing the pros and cons, Iguchi Kagoro had no choice but to apologize to Su-yun. He could only excuse himself. Nego, you must thank Mr. Su for everything he has done for you on my behalf. Iguchi Kagoro finally said, He is your benefactor, my benefactor, and the Iguchi group's benefactor. You know how our Iguchi family treats our guests. I'll leave everything here to you. I believe you won't let me down. Iguchi Nego nodded. Don't worry about those things. I'll take good care of Mr. Su. After receiving his daughter's reply, Iguchi Kagoro apologized again and left. Although Su Yun didn't like Japanese people very much, this guy was so polite that he had no reason to hate him. Besides, if he could find Muto Ichiro, Iguchi Kagoro would help Su Yun solve a very difficult problem. Iguchi Nego poured wine for Su Yun and said, Mr. Su, if my cooking doesn't suit your taste, please give me some advice. The chef at home is also very knowledgeable about Chinese food. I can ask them to cook some dishes that you like at any time according to your taste. You don't have to call me Mr. Su so politely. It'll make me feel awkward. Su Yun said, Your cooking is very good, and I like your cooking very much. Really, there's no need for the chef to do anything else. I'm satisfied that you like it. Iguchi Nego said, If you don't like me calling you Mr. Su, then can I call you Su Yun, Kun? Sure. Su Yun nodded. You eat too. Don't just watch me eat. Let's eat together. Nego Iguchi's smile was quite charming. At least, it gave people a comfortable feeling. Japanese women were good at serving people. They would always consider things from the other party's point of view. Su Yun quite enjoyed this feeling. During the meal, Nego Iguchi talked a lot about her yearning for Huaxia. As a Japanese, she also seriously criticized some of the actions of the Japanese cabinet. She thought that it was very despicable to slander history. At least, she and many other Japanese thought so. They were willing to acknowledge history and apologize for it. Although Nego Iguchi was also a Japanese, it was hard for him to hate or dislike a Japanese who dared to face and admit her mistakes. If the Japanese cabinet had Nego Iguchi's sincerity, he believed that the Huaxia people would slowly forgive the sins they had committed in history. He didn't hate them as much as he did now. Making a mistake was not scary. What was scary was not admitting it and not knowing how to repent. Actually, when you said that I was cursed by Muto Ichiro, my father understood the reason. Nego Iguchi suddenly said, It must be the leaders in the cabinet who asked him to do so. Why do you say that? Su Yun was stunned. After all, he was the one who framed Muto Ichiro. Nego Iguchi shook her head helplessly. Not long ago, the members of the cabinet wanted to visit the Yasukuni shrine. Because many of us in Japan know that once the cabinet visits, it will definitely cause dissatisfaction in the world. After all, our country has done wrong before. So, many people don't support the cabinet's decision. It seemed that there were some people in Japan who were worthy of forgiveness. Nego Iguchi continued, Because many people don't support it, the cabinet was worried that there would be trouble during the visit. So, they asked my father and the Iguchi group to come forward and suppress those who oppose this matter. However, my father refused. Su Yun was stunned. Why did Mr. Iguchi refuse the cabinet's request? After all, offending them is not a wise choice. It's because my father doesn't support worshipping. Ever since the first 2 terms of leaders, my father has not supported their worshipping behavior. Nego Iguchi said, This matter has a great impact. Every time the cabinet members visit the shrine, Japan's economy will be severely impacted. We know very well that we need Huaxia and any country in the world. We need to coexist peacefully. Only then can we develop the country and the economy better. However, their actions of visiting the shrine will destroy the development every time. It seems that the Iguchi group will also be severely impacted. Su Yun smiled slightly. Nego Iguchi nodded. Our Iguchi group has the largest automobile parts production base in Japan. We produce most of the parts for all automobile manufacturers. Japan's automobile manufacturing industry has great achievements in the world. The quality is comparable to any country. However, because of their visits, Japan's automobile industry has been severely boycotted, especially in Huaxia. You are a Huaxia. You must know more than me. This has caused our Iguchi group's economy to suffer a huge blow. Su Yun nodded. Indeed, because of the Japanese's actions of visiting the shrine, Japan's automobile sales in China plummeted. The efficiency of the godly cars increased step by step. Moreover, it also caused some people with ulterior motives to use this opportunity to cause riots. Incidents of cars being smashed had happened before. There were also many incidents of people being injured. The cause of all this was the despicable actions of those bastards in the Japanese cabinet. Actually, I am like many Japanese. I like Hwaseya very much. We don't want this to continue. Nego Iguchi said, "Do you understand what I mean?" Of course I understand. We Hwaseya people are not narrow-minded people. If all Japanese are like you, we will definitely forgive and accept it. Su-yun said, "It's not your fault. It's your cabinet's fault. They are all brainwashed idiots. If Japan doesn't change some sensible leaders, you will fall into the hands of these idiots sooner or later." Nego Iguchi said helplessly, "They are all crazy now. If their own people oppose them, they will even suppress them. I also feel that Japan is in a precarious situation." "Okay, let's stop talking and drink." Su-yun said, "This is not something you and I can control. Let nature take its course. If Japan really seeks its own destruction one day, Hwaseya will welcome you." Nego Iguchi was a Japanese after all. Of course, she did not want her country to be destroyed. She smiled awkwardly. After dinner, Nego Iguchi naturally wanted Su-yun to enjoy the natural hot springs in Japan. The Iguchi family was powerful, so it was not surprising that they had a natural hot spring in their residence. Everyone in the world knew that the Japanese loved hot springs. Nego Iguchi asked the servants to arrange everything for Su-yun. What Su-yun needed to do was to take off his clothes and lie comfortably in the warm spring water to relieve his fatigue and enjoy the beautiful life that nature had given to humans. Phew. Chapter 871. The frequent movements of the Earth's crust had created hot springs all over Japan. From small islands on the sea to hidden places in the mountains, it could be said that there were all sorts of beautiful hot springs that could nourish one's skin and strengthen one's body. There were 70,000 to 80,000 hot springs in Japan. It could be said that Japan was the hot spring kingdom. To the Japanese, soaking in hot springs was a kind of enjoyment. It was a part of life. Therefore, there was no lack of powerful people like the Iguchi family who would choose to live in a place with a natural hot spring. They could enjoy this precious resource given by nature every day. Although this island country with frequent volcanoes and earthquakes suffered from the torture of nature, it also received a natural resource like hot springs in return. Su-yun could sense from the dark yellow wood beside his hand that this hot spring was probably 1,000 years old. Not only did the passage of time not erase its charm, but it also made this place seem even more charming with the passage of time. Every decoration was filled with a rich cultural atmosphere. Outdoor hot springs like this were the best. One could enjoy the scenery while soaking in it. Although they couldn't see Mount Fuji, a few cherry blossoms were enough to make people feel refreshed. It was a pity that there was no snow in this season. Otherwise, soaking in the hot spring surrounded by hot air and watching the snowflakes fall into the hot spring from time to time would be absolutely romantic. It seemed that Iguchi Nego had enjoyed this kind of life since she was young. No wonder her figure and skin were so perfect. Just as Su-yun was comfortably immersed in the enjoyment, a tray slowly floated in front of Su-yun. There was a bottle of sake and 2 small wine cups on it. Su-yun was stunned. What was the meaning of this? Surrounded by hot air, he could vaguely see a graceful and exquisite figure walking over from afar. PFFF. When Su-yun saw who it was, he almost couldn't hold back the blood coming out of his nose. Iguchi Nego didn't say that she was coming too. Could it be that the Iguchi family was so powerful, but they only had one hot spring in their residence? One had to know that Su-yun wasn't even wearing a loincloth. But soon, Su-yun discovered a new problem. After Iguchi Nego walked through the hot air, she took off the bathrobe wrapped around her body. There was nothing inside. Wasn't this 2F** king honest? Neko Iguchi didn't avoid Su-yun's gaze. Instead, she slowly walked into the hot spring pool and sat beside Su-yun. Her delicate face and smooth shoulders were exposed above the water surface. Her graceful figure was also faintly discernible under the water. Su-yun spent a lot of effort to figure it out. The girls in Japan were really open-minded. If this situation was in Huaxia, it would probably only be seen in a few hot spring resorts with nude baths, right? Hee, Nago Iguchi smiled at Su-yun. My figure is not good. Please don't laugh at me, Su-yun-kun. Poof. She was being too modest by saying that her figure was not good. Although Su-yun thought so in his heart, he didn't say so. No, I think it's quite good. Really? Nako Iguchi was a little excited. She looked happy. Su-yun-kun, do you really think my figure is good? Thank you. You're welcome. Su-yun laughed a few times. If all the girls were so honest with each other, they wouldn't be angry because he saw their body. Instead, they would be happy because he praised their figure. Wouldn't the world be too beautiful? Nako Iguchi drank a glass of sake and continued. I have never been confident in my figure, especially now that the Japanese girls' figures are very exaggerated. G-cup is not a rare thing. So, I don't have much confidence when I'm with them. G-cup? What the? Su-yun couldn't help but exclaim in his heart. That girl was definitely a Japanese porn star. Otherwise, how could she be so scary? Unless she grew up with hormones. Su-yun wasn't Liu Xiaohui. Before Nako Iguchi entered the bath, he also saw that this girl who said she wasn't confident in her figure was at least a C. If you don't have confidence, how can those A-list and B-list girls live? They might as well commit suicide. Actually, you're already very good now. Su-yun, really, there's no need to pursue such an exaggerated figure. Huaxia has a saying, when things reach an extreme, they will move in the opposite direction. For example, if a girl's figure is too big, then it won't be beautiful. Nako Iguchi nodded and listened as if it was true. Actually, I didn't want to be so exaggerated. It's just that, it's better if it's bigger. Haha, it said that a girl's chest development needs a massage. If your boyfriend helps you rub it, it can stimulate some kind of growth hormone. Su-yun, but many girls with small breasts don't like to touch them because they're too small. The more it's like this, the more it can't stimulate their growth. The more it doesn't grow, the more the boyfriend doesn't like to touch it. You must have such examples around you, right? If you have such a situation, you can find me. I'll give you a free massage. Don't ask me why, because I'm called Lei Feng. Nako Iguchi was stunned for a while. After understanding Su-yun's joke, she couldn't help but laugh. Although her whole body was in the hot spring pool, Su-yun could still see the looming picture through the water surface. Oh, although it was very cool, Su-yun felt a little uneasy in his heart. If Iguchi Kagoro suddenly came back and saw him and his daughter in the hot spring naked in the pool, would he go crazy? In any case, there was an attractive body less than 2 meters away from Su-yun, and the barrier between them was just some water. Thinking of what Nako Iguchi did to him when she was possessed, Su-yun really couldn't control himself. It was as if the hot spring had numbed his willpower. Miss Nako, I wonder... Call me Nako. Before Su-yun could continue, Nako Iguchi interrupted him. Su-yun was stunned. Nako. Nako Iguchi's face was full of a happy smile, and she nodded. What's wrong? I don't know when your father will come back. Su-yun, I think, no matter what, he is your father. As your elder, he may not want to see you in the same hot spring pool with me. Isn't it inappropriate for us to be like this? Instead of avoiding, Nako Iguchi moved her body closer to Su-yun. It's okay. Although my father is quite traditional sometimes, this hot spring pool is the most effective beauty and fitness pool here. I usually use this. You are my benefactor. I should invite you to this hot spring pool. Su-yun smiled awkwardly. He thought, you didn't say you would come. If you had told me earlier, I would have worn swimming trunks or something. Now in this state, I'm afraid no one can explain it clearly. He didn't want to be killed by the Iguchi group because of his greed for the hot spring. Thank you for your hospitality. Su-yun, I'm a little tired. I want to take a rest first. I've been soaking for too long. My body is going to be soft. Chapter 872. My father won't come back so soon. Even if he does, he won't mind. He supported all the choices I made when I was very young. I know what I'm doing now, and I'm very clear about my actions. I hope I can repay you for everything you've done for me. Su-yun took a deep breath to suppress his impulse. This was too sudden. Even though Iguchi Nako explained her actions clearly, Su-yun had to admit that she was too impulsive. Nako, you'd better calm down. You don't know what you're doing. I'm just a passerby. You don't have to be like this. Iguchi Nako still had no intention of letting go of Su-yun. She pressed her cheek against Su-yun's chest. I know you won't give me any promises, and you won't give me any future. But I just hope that I can give my first time to someone I'm willing to give it to. If it wasn't for you, I might only have a few days left to live, and I might have hurt more people, including my family. You've given me too much, and the only person I can repay you with is myself. I don't have any requests. I just hope you won't reject me. What the F***ck? Was she going to marry him? Su-yun's judgment was a little impaired. It wasn't easy to choose between accepting and rejecting. As I said before, I especially like Huaxia. I've dreamed of living in Huaxia since I was young. In my mind, Huaxia is a country with thousands of years of history. It's far from comparable to Dongying. Iguchi Nako said, I've also read some books that record human history. To a certain extent, not only is Turtle Island part of Huaxia, but even Dongying is part of Huaxia. The development of history has changed many things, but no matter how many changes there are, they can't change the truth of history. Su-yun was more or less surprised that a Dongying could say this. Turtle Island was definitely part of Huaxia. This was indisputable. However, it was not too much to say that Japan was also part of Huaxia. However, history had already happened. As Huaxia people, perhaps they would not accept the Japanese, right? Everything I'm doing now is voluntary. Iguchi Nago said, even if you leave me in a few days, I will never regret what I have done. The girl had already said so much. If Su-yun still refused, wouldn't it hurt the girl's heart too much? Su-yun couldn't care less. Now that things had come to this, he couldn't care less. Miss Hanako. When Su-yun made up his mind to press Nagako Iguchi under his body and was about to punish her on the spot, a woman's voice came from outside the hot spring. This voice stopped Su-yun in his tracks. He shuddered all over. Fortunately, he managed to pull back in time. Otherwise, if he really did that, and Nago Iguchi changed her mind, if he didn't agree to stay in Tokyo, the Iguchi group wouldn't let him go, right? What's wrong? A trace of disappointment appeared on Nagako Iguchi's face. She was prepared to use her body to welcome Su-yun's entry. She was prepared to experience the feeling of pain and pleasure, but she was interrupted by the servant. Your friend is here to see you. He's waiting for you. Who? Nagako Iguchi frowned. Who came at such a bad time? Since she got into trouble a month ago, no one had come to see her. Mr. Nakata Yuto. Nagako Iguchi's face suddenly changed. She questioned, what is he doing here? You let him go. Don't you know that I have an important guest to entertain? The servant was also somewhat helpless. I told him that you have a guest to entertain, but Mr. Nakata Yuto insisted on seeing you. I won't see him, Nagako Iguchi said heavily. Let him go. Yes, Miss Hanako. The person could only helplessly leave. This period of time was enough for Su-yun to put on his bathrobe. After he calmed down, he thought about the consequences of this matter again and again. In the end, he endured it. The body of the young lady of the Iguchi group was not that easy to touch. In order to avoid unnecessary trouble, Su-yun could only suppress his lust and be Lu Xiaohui for once. After all, he didn't come to Dongying to have fun. There were still important things to be done. Before he got the seed of the chi-consolidating grass from Muto Ichiro, Su-yun really shouldn't be in the mood to do this kind of thing. This is… Nagako Iguchi looked back and saw Su-yun put on his bathrobe. The disappointment in her heart was very strong. Why don't you continue? Your friend is here. I think it's better for you to meet him. Su-yun said. I'm a little tired. I want to rest. Nagako Iguchi's expression dimmed. Actually, you don't understand the situation. After what happened to me, I saw through a lot of people. Ha! Su-yun was stunned. Nakata Yuto is the leader of the skeleton biker gang. He's also my pursuer, Nagako Iguchi said. At first, I didn't know why he pursued me. But now I can be sure that he doesn't really love me. It's because of the Iguchi group's power. After I was bewitched and he found out about my condition, he never came to see me again. Now, he must have found out about the situation through his connections and came back to find me again. Su-yun was a little surprised. How could such a man become the leader of a biker gang? He didn't even have the most basic sense of responsibility. As long as he was a responsible man, he wouldn't leave when he knew that the woman he liked was suffering. He would stay by her side. Listening to Nagako Iguchi's words, Nakata Yuto did have other motives. Then you should go see him and tell him everything, Su-yun said. Let him give up on you as soon as possible. Such a man is indeed not worth anyone's effort. But I don't want to meet him. I feel disgusted when I think about his motives, Nagako Iguchi said. Because the skeleton bikers are a new group of young people in Japan. My father also thinks that they have a better future, so I don't want to make things too awkward. Su-yun couldn't do anything. This was the Iguchi group's business. He didn't have the time to intervene. He just handed the bathrobe to Nagako Iguchi and let her put it on. After all, with her standing in front of him, Su-yun really couldn't control himself. All men were like this. There was nothing to deny. Nagako Iguchi could see that Su-yun wouldn't do anything to her. She had no choice but to put on the bathrobe. Then, they heard a noise. Suddenly, the hot spring sliding door was pulled open. A good-looking and tall Japanese youth appeared in front of Su-yun and Nagako Iguchi. F***ck. Wasn't this a little too rude? Su-yun cursed in his heart. Fortunately, he wasn't doing anything with Nagako Iguchi. If they were in the middle of doing it, they would probably be scared to death by this sudden interruption. Nagako. Who is this man? Obviously, the person who suddenly barged in was the Nakata Yuto that Nagako Iguchi was talking about. Chapter 873. After all, Nakata Yuto was also a leader of a biker gang. Facing Iguchi Nako's loud rebuke, he did not panic. He sneered, pointed at Su-yun and said to Iguchi Nako, Nako, you actually treat me like this because of a Huaxia bastard? It really makes my heart cold. What qualifications do you have to talk to my guest like this? Nakata Yuto, don't think that just because my father gave you some face, you can be arrogant and lawless. If you dare to talk nonsense again, don't blame me for not being polite to you. Iguchi Nako said sternly. I think you are already being rude to me. Nakata Yuto sneered. Nako, I believe that Iguchi-san will understand me. Everything I do is for your good. This Huaxia bastard cannot be left alive. Since he has confused you, I have the reason and responsibility to help you wake up. This grandson had said the harsh words, Huaxia bastard, twice in a row. Su-yun's patience was limited. Nakata Yuto had already touched Su-yun's bottom line. Su-yun would not easily forgive the guy who touched his bottom line. Who didn't pull their pants properly, and a bastard like you popped out. Su-yun spat. What are you pretending for? You are at best a small fry in Iguchi-san's eyes. Don't think too highly of yourself. If you think too highly of yourself, you will fall. Shut the door before you speak. Disaster comes from the mouth. Nakata Yuto saw Su-yun in a bathrobe, and the flames of jealousy in his heart almost melted. He stared at Su Yun viciously. I tell you, don't think that just because you use some unorthodox methods to save Nako, you can call the wind and summon the rain in the Iguchi-gumi. I have heard everything you did. Since you know how to remove this evil technique, I have reason to suspect that this evil technique was planned by you. No one can prove that you have no conspiracy. If you ask me, this is a carefully planned conspiracy. Your purpose is to get the Iguchi-gumi. Don't force your thoughts on others. Su Yun said disdainfully, if you think so, then go and tell Mr. Iguchi. If he believes you, then I have nothing to say. Hanako, don't be fooled by this guy. Nakata Yuto said, the Huaxia people are not as good as you think. Nagako Iguchi didn't want to listen to Nakata Yuto's nonsense anymore. Can you stop slandering others? If you're really good to me, then where were you when I was under the curse? Why didn't I see you? I've been looking for a way to save you, Nakata Yuto explained. How could I come back to see you before I found a way? When I heard that someone was using dishonest methods, I immediately rushed over. Hanako, please believe me. Scram. Iguchi Nego said. Get out of my house. Nego. Nakata Yuto's face began to lose his composure. Iguchi Nagako said, I'll say it one last time. Scram. Nakata Yuto seemed to know Iguchi Nagako's bottom line. If this continued, Iguchi Kagoro would inevitably be angry. Nakata Yuto was very clear about who he couldn't offend. Completely angering Iguchi Nagako wouldn't do him any good. Since Iguchi Nagako couldn't be convinced, then he had to talk to Iguchi Kagoro. Nagako, I'll go. I'll go now, but I'm telling you, don't be fooled by this man. Nakata Yuto said, if you bathe with him, you will regret it for a lifetime. In this world, except for me who is sincere to you, other men are just coveting your body. I have bathed with him, and he didn't do anything excessive. Iguchi Nagako said, in my understanding, he is far more of a gentleman than you. For the sake of my father's face, I have given you enough face. I hope you can take care of yourself. Hearing Iguchi Nagako's words, Nakata Yuto's heart had been completely melted by the flames of jealousy. The woman he had always wanted but couldn't get actually bathed with a Huaxia. If this wasn't Iguchi's house, Nakata Yuto would definitely not hesitate to kill the man in front of him with his own hands. But the current situation didn't allow him to do so. He knew that if he did so, Iguchi Kagoro wouldn't forgive him. Since it was inconvenient for him to do this, he could only kill with a borrowed knife and let Iguchi Kagoro deal with him. Nakata Yuto angrily flicked his sleeves and left. Wait and see. Su Yun certainly knew that this guy wouldn't give up so easily. It wasn't difficult to learn from Iguchi Nagako that Nakata Yuto and Iguchi Kagoro knew each other. If he wasn't a fool, he would definitely talk nonsense to Iguchi Kagoro now. In this way, Iguchi Kagoro was likely to change his position. I'm afraid this is really a little troublesome. Su Yun, Kuin, you can rest assured that I won't let anyone touch you. Iguchi Nagako could see the awkwardness in Su Yun's expression. Even if he can get my father to stand on the same side as him, I will unconditionally choose to support you. Su Yun smiled. If you can say that, I didn't waste so much effort to save you. There are still many good people in this world. After a pause, Su Yun continued, however, if your father sees the two of us dressed like this next to the hot spring pool, I'm afraid it won't be so easy to control his impulse, right? Iguchi Nagako's face was slightly flushed, and she hurriedly left the hot spring pool. Su Yun also hurriedly left this troublesome place and returned to his room to put on his clothes. God knows what kind of tongue Nakata Yuto would whisper in Iguchi Kagoro's ear. Iguchi Kagoro might come back to settle accounts with him at any time. Sure enough, Su Yun's guess was right. Although Iguchi Kagoro had important things to do outside, after listening to Nakata Yuto's analysis, he couldn't help but be suspicious. Since Su Yun knew how to remove the curse, it was possible that he was the one who cast the curse. Saying that it was Muto Ichiro was just an excuse. Thinking of this, Iguchi Kagoro immediately ordered everyone to stop searching for Muto Ichiro's whereabouts and rush home as soon as possible. If Su Yun wanted to get his Iguchi group's power, then he would take the bait. He even promised to give Su Yun half of the Iguchi group's power. Whoosh! The door was opened, and Iguchi Kagoro rushed into Su Yun's room with several people. Iguchi Nagako, who had been waiting with Su Yun, immediately stood up and blocked everyone. Stop! Iguchi Kagoro was afraid that his daughter would be accidentally hurt, so he hurriedly asked his men to put down the guns in their hands. Then he ordered his daughter, Nagako, come here. Before things are clear, I won't allow you to be with such a dangerous person. Dad, if you would rather believe Nakata Yuto than a benefactor who saved me, then you are the most confused person in the world. Iguchi Nagako said, think about it carefully. Su Yun has no reason to hurt me and then save me. If he wants to harm us, he can cast a curse on any of us without showing up. Chapter 874. Su Yun shook his head helplessly. Since Iguchi Kagoro still addressed him respectfully, it meant that he hadn't made up his mind to get rid of him. This gave him a chance to explain. Iguchi-san, although I don't know what kind of slanderous words you've heard, I'm sure you've heard a lot of them. But I can promise you that I won't covet anything from the Iguchi group. Su Yun said, you said you would give me half of the Iguchi group's empire, but I don't need it. As for Miss Nago Iguchi, I don't have any extravagant hopes. If you're still worried, I can leave here now and leave Japan. This is also what I'm looking forward to, because I'm already in danger. Iguchi-san, you disappoint me. You don't spend your time on proper matters, but on suspicions. Iguchi Kagoro was stunned. What did this mean? Was Su Yun not going to explain? He just raised his suspicions, and he could accept it and leave. It seemed that he had no motive or purpose for the Iguchi group and Nago. Iguchi Kagoro had to admit that what Nakata Yuto told him didn't make sense at all. Iguchi-san, don't you think that the more he doesn't ask for anything, the stranger it is? Nakata Yuto immediately raised his doubts. He couldn't let himself be at a disadvantage. Whoever could grasp Iguchi Kagoro's mentality now would be the real winner. That's right, this made sense. No one in the world would do anything that didn't benefit them. Why would Su Yun stand up to help them without asking for anything? This didn't conform to human nature. Iguchi Kagoro turned to Su Yun again. Su Yun-san, as the saying goes, one doesn't rise early without benefits. Every man for himself, and the devil takes the hindmost. Why are you helping us when you don't have any goals or requests? I said, if you think I have any purpose, I can leave immediately. Su Yun's face turned cold. I don't want to waste my time. Because every minute later I find the real tame head, I'll be in more danger. If you want me to give you a reason, I can only say that I'm a good young man who's learning from Hitler's good example. I like to do good deeds. It's that simple. A good young man who should learn from Lei Feng's example. Iguchi Kagoro could not accept such a ridiculous reason, but he dared not take the risk. If Su Yun left without getting rid of the real tame headmaster, it meant that they might get into trouble and danger again. Dad, some things really don't need a reason. Iguchi Nago said, you heard it too. Su Yun-kun didn't ask for anything, so why should we doubt his character? You should be suspicious of Nakata Yuto. Have you thought about why he approached me and why he approached the Iguchi Gumi? Of course, Iguchi Kagoro had thought about it before. Everyone in this line of work approached the Iguchi Gumi because Iguchi's influence and strength could help them. Take the Skeleton Biker clan for example. Ever since they latched onto the Iguchi Gumi, they had been thriving. How could Iguchi Kagoro not know? Iguchi-san, I'm afraid that Neko-san has been bewitched by this man's sorcery. Nakata Yuto hurriedly explained. Shut up. Iguchi Kagoro said coldly. Although Nakata Yuto was usually arrogant, he did not dare to disagree in front of the Iguchi Gumi. Iguchi Kagoro looked at Su Yun seriously. Su Yun-san, you said that you have no ulterior motives. How can you prove it? I'll find the person you want me to find, you help me get rid of him, and then you'll leave Japan? Will you have nothing to do with our Iguchi Gumi? If you dare to promise me, then I'll believe you. Su Yun had never wanted to have anything to do with them. Of course, after I've settled my matters, I'll leave without you saying anything. I won't have any contact with anyone from the Iguchi Gumi. Iguchi-san, I want to find that person not only to help you, but also for myself. But there are some things that I can't say. I believe you understand that the less you know, the safer you are. If I tell you too much, it won't be a good thing for you. Iguchi Kagoro nodded in his heart. What he said was true. The less one knew about some things, the better. The people who were silenced were often those who knew too much. Okay, I believe you. Iguchi Kagoro said, but I have a condition. You can't be alone with my daughter again. Dad, why are you doing this? It's my freedom to be with whoever I want. Iguchi Nego said, what right do you have to interfere with me? Iguchi Kagoro did not know how to answer, but Su Yun stood up to help him. You should listen to your father. If you're with me, someone will have a reason to say that I'm doing this for you. If you're really thinking for me, then listen to Iguchi-san's arrangements. Iguchi Nego wanted to say something else, but she held back in the end. She glared at Nakata Yuto and then looked at her father. Okay, I'll do as you say. This way, you'll believe in Su Yun Kuen's good intentions. Iguchi-san, in that case, I won't disturb you anymore, Su Yun said. You've already treated me very well. I think I'd better go back. Iguchi Kagoro did not ask Su Yun to stay out of selfishness. Instead, he obeyed Su Yun's wishes and said to the man behind him, You send Su Yun Kuen back. That's not necessary, Su Yun said. I'll go back by myself. It's already bad enough that we didn't ask Su Yun Kuen to stay. If we don't arrange for someone to send you back personally, it'll be too much, Iguchi Kagoro said. Su Yun Kuen, just agree. This way, I'll feel more at ease. Su Yun had no choice but to comply. Because Su Yun had called to say that he would not be returning to the hotel, when Su Yun returned to the hotel, no one was there. He dialed Lin Ji's number and found out that Zhuo Meiyan had taken them out to eat. There were many street food stalls in Dongying. They were clean, hygienic, and delicious. They were delicacies that people who came to Dongying could not miss. Therefore, Zhuo Meiyan naturally would not miss this rare opportunity to come to Dongying. She had to enjoy it. Su Yun could only blame himself for not having the luck to eat. She directly took Lin Gu and Xia Qiuyu to the snack street in Dongying to taste the delicacies. After Su Yun asked for the address over the phone, he immediately left the hotel and took a taxi. How could he miss out on such a good opportunity for leisure and entertainment? In any case, he had already completed his mission. Now, all he had to do was wait for news. Waiting in the hotel was waiting. Going out to drink and eat sashimi was also waiting. Why not? When Su Yun arrived at the Dongying pedestrian street, he could tell that they had already drunk a lot. Xia Qiuyu was not a good drinker, so the sake with low alcohol content made her blush. Didn't you stay with the Iguchi family to accompany their eldest daughter? Why did you come out again? Are you afraid that the little girl will eat you? Zhuo Meiyan joked when she saw Su Yun. Chapter 875. No way, that old man in Iguchi didn't provide food? Brother, why do I feel like you're hungrier than me? Lin Gu also smiled and said, Could it be that after coming to Japan, you're overwhelmed with emotions and have the ambition to eat the meat of the barbarians and drink the blood of the Xiongnu? Su Yun glanced at Lin Gu. If you have such a heroic spirit, then you've really encountered an opportunity. Today, I'll let you experience the feeling of entering Tokyo immediately. I think you'll be quite interested. The people on this food street are quite messy. There should be quite a number of tourists. When we fight later, you have to be careful. Lin Gu was a little confused. What did Brother Yun mean? Did he want him to cause trouble here? Brother, although we don't like Japan now, we won't go to the extent of causing trouble. Lin-gu said, not all Japanese are bad people. Besides, there's no need for us to cause unnecessary trouble, right? At this moment, the roar of a motorcycle engine came from not far away. These street food stalls were small food stalls with only a roof, so there was no end in sight. No matter what happened in any direction, they wouldn't miss it. Zhua Meiyan put down the string of octopus balls in her hand and said to Lin-gu lightly, there's no need for us to cause trouble, but if trouble comes knocking on our door, it's not something you can stop. Su-yun, tell me, how did you provoke the Tokyo biker gang? We've always been very well behaved in the hotel and definitely wouldn't provoke these annoying people. Su-yun shrugged helplessly. I'm not stupid enough to cause trouble for myself. Like you said, if trouble comes knocking on our door, it's not something I can stop. The biker gang was actually a domineering name for the biker gang. Violence was violence. If they didn't do violence to others, they wouldn't be considered a biker gang. The meaning of the word walk in the biker gang was to dodge and leave after the fight. Therefore, those who stood there foolishly waiting for the police to arrest them after beating someone to the ground couldn't be considered a real biker gang member. Since they were part of the biker race, they were naturally a race that traveled in groups. A single person riding a motorcycle and committing crimes everywhere could not be considered part of the biker race. What they were facing right now was a genuine biker gang. A group of people wearing skulls with skulls on their motorcycles were slowly surrounding the food stall that Su-yun was in. The locals all knew who these people were and were unwilling to get into trouble, so they all left. Perhaps these guys had a clear goal, so they didn't stop innocent people from escaping. The boss of the food stall was flabbergasted. How did these customers offend the berserk skeleton? This time, he could be considered to be unlucky. It was inevitable that the stall would be smashed, and the police would not be able to rush over in such a short time. In any case, it was useless for him to stop them, so he could only let them do whatever they wanted. He only hoped that no lives would be lost. Nakata Yuto didn't disappoint Su-yun. Su-yun knew that he would follow his whereabouts. This was also why Su-yun found no one at the hotel and immediately came out to find them. With Su-yun's current state, he would have no problem taking on Nakata Yuto alone. However, if he were to summon these people to surround and attack him, he might not be able to handle it. This matter could only be left to Lin-gu. Lin-gu was drinking happily and was in a relaxed mood. Being suddenly disturbed, he was naturally unhappy. Biker gang, right? What era is this? You still play this? Are you weak? If you guys rode around on motorcycles in the 1970s, it would be acceptable. However, it's already been more than 10 years in the 21st century, and you guys are still riding around on a broken motorcycle. Do you really think you're cool? Many of the skeleton biker gang members heard that someone was looking down on them, and they were all furious. In this kind of environment, people were all hot-tempered and could be easily ignited. Huaxia people, today I'll let you know the terror of Japan. Nakata Yuto said coldly. I'll make you regret coming to Tokyo. Aren't you afraid of biting your tongue? Zhua Meiyan rolled her eyes in disdain. After all, they were just a bunch of hooligans. An expert wouldn't be so bored as to join such a boring organization like the biker gang. Su-yun said indifferently, Nakata Yuto, I know your goal. You don't want me to get close to the Iguchi Gumi. I know that your ambition is not limited to leading the biker gang. You know very well that Iguchi Kagoro only has one daughter. If you can get Nako Iguchi, you can get the entire Iguchi Gumi. Am I right? Of course. I've never lacked women by my side. Naturally, I won't be dead set on a woman. I want the Iguchi Gumi. Nakata Yuto said coldly. So what if you see through it? This is my world. You no longer have a chance. Today, I'll surround you here. Don't even think about leaving alive. Nako Iguchi is mine. The Iguchi Gumi is also mine. No one can change that. Su-yun waved the mobile phone in his hand. Sorry, I'm just recording. After Mr. Iguchi hears this, he will be very angry. Do you think you still have a chance to meet Iguchi Kagoro? Humph, dream on. Nakata Yuto ordered. Everyone, attack! Dozens of skeleton biker gang members waved the iron rods and whips in their hands. They charged directly at Su Yun. The biker gang's fighting style naturally had its own unique characteristics. Generally, they would work together in pairs. One would ride the bike while the other would attack from behind. Of course, there were some who were more capable. One would ride the bike while the other would smash with a weapon. However, in front of Lin Gu, these arrogant and unruly fellows were no match for him. Some of them did not even have time to see where Lin Gu was before they were thrown to the ground along with their bikes. Nakata Yuto did not even have time to figure out who this troublemaker was. Dozens of his subordinates were already lying on the ground, clutching their heads and wailing in pain. Su Yun had both hands in his pockets. It was as though the whole thing had nothing to do with him. He stood in the middle of the biker gang, watching as Lin Gu dealt with his opponents one by one. The arrogance in Nakata Yuto's eyes had turned into panic. Zhuo Meiyan had no intention of interfering. She continued eating the octopus balls in front of her. Although Xia Qiuyu already knew that Lin Gu could fight, she did not expect him to be so good at fighting. His movements were so fast. If that was the case, if Su Yun were to recover, he would definitely be more powerful than Lin Gu. In less than 3 minutes, the skeleton biker gang that had been swaggering around earlier had been completely wiped out. Dozens of them had either broken arms or legs. Not a single one of them was healthy. You? Who are you people? Nakata Yuto's face grew increasingly ugly. He realized that he had provoked someone he could not afford to provoke. There is no need for you to know that. As Lin Gu spoke, he had already arrived behind Nakata Yuto. Nakata Yuto felt a chill run down his spine. If Chen Xiaolian wanted to kill him, he would not even be given the chance to turn around. Let's leave this person for the Iguchi Gumi to deal with. Su Yun gave a faint smile. We're almost done eating. Let's go back. Chapter 876. Su Yun did not personally hand over the recording to Iguchi Kagoro. Instead, he asked Lin Gu to go to Iguchi's house the next day. Lin Gu waited for Iguchi Kagoro to finish listening to the recording, then said to him seriously, Mr. Iguchi, I don't want our good intentions to become the reason for some people to attack us. If we stay in Japan and are constantly threatened, then we have a good reason to leave this place. The biker gang has brought us too much trouble. I only hope that the Iguchi Gumi can give us some practical help. Iguchi Kagoro had long been angered by the recording. All these years, Nakata Yuki was able to lead the skeleton biker gang to such heights, mostly because of his support. Although the Iguchi Gumi needed Nakata Yuki and the rest, they would not rely on them. On the contrary, these young biker gang could be so unscrupulous and crazy because they had the Iguchi Gumi behind them. Therefore, Iguchi Kagoro had always been confident that Nakata Yuki respected him, but he did not expect that this bastard was just an ambitious person who liked to use others. Please tell Mr. Su that these things will not happen again. Iguchi Kagoro said, anything that threatens Mr. Su's safety will not happen again. I will deal with this person and give Mr. Su a satisfactory answer. I only hope that Mr. Su will give me a little more time. I believe that my people will soon find Muto Ichiro. Lin Gu did not urge Iguchi Kagoro. Instead, he said to him according to Su Yun's instructions, I hope that before Mr. Iguchi finds Muto Ichiro, he will not have the chance to cast a spell on Miss Nago again. Time waits for no one. Mr. Iguchi, please cherish it. Although Iguchi Kagoro did not understand the meaning of cherish it, the culture of Huaxia was naturally not something he could understand. He knew that he only needed to know that time waits for no one. The Iguchi Gumi searched the entire island of Japan. No city, no corner was left unchecked. If the Japanese police could use 1/10 of the Iguchi Gumi's energy, they would be able to find all the missing persons in the entire year. It was already the 4th day since Su Yun and the others arrived in Japan. The Iguchi group still hadn't given Su Yun a satisfactory reply. Other than the news of no target found from various small counties, Su Yun did not get any meaningful information from Iguchi Kagoro. Brother, Maybe Muto Ichiro isn't in Japan. Or maybe you've overestimated him. He might not have survived. Lin Gu no longer had any hope. This matter was not reliable. It was really not reliable. Su Yun was also trying to find a reason to convince himself. But he couldn't find him. He had no reason to believe that Muto Ichiro, an expert with such strength, would die in the ocean. He also couldn't think of any other place other than Japan where Muto Ichiro could go. In the entire world, Hua Xia wasn't the only one who hated the infamous Black Tomb Special Forces led by Muto Ichiro. Therefore, Su Yun believed that he wouldn't be welcomed anywhere. Therefore, he could only hide in Japan and wait for his opportunity. I firmly believe that Muto Ichiro must be somewhere in Japan. Su Yun, this was a kind of intuition. Su Yun liked to believe in his intuition because his intuition had always been accurate. It was just like how the spirit granny believed that her crystal ball would definitely be accurate. Zhua Meiyan also raised her doubts. If we look for him for too long, I'm afraid Iguchi Kagoro will also feel uneasy. Su Yun, no matter what, you have to make another plan. If we can't find Muto Ichiro, how are we going to escape? We can wait here for 3 days, 5 days, 10 days, but we can't wait here for half a year or 10 months. If the Iguchi-gumi really can't find Muto Ichiro, we have to escape. Once that happens, I'm afraid Iguchi Kagoro won't let us leave so easily. Lin Gu nodded. That's what I mean, but I don't know how to express it. Brother, if this isn't reliable, how are we going to escape? If Iguchi Kagoro can't find Muto, he'll definitely be afraid that the Iguchi family will be cursed again. Maybe he'll make you his son-in-law. That way, they won't have to worry about being cursed again. Anyway, you'll be able to remove it. Xia Qiuyu half-joked to Su Yun. Although Xia Qiuyu said it in a joking manner, it really could happen. No one could predict what the Iguchi-gumi would do to make up for the danger if they couldn't find Muto Ichiro. When that happened, the help that was supposed to be for Su Yun would become trouble for Su Yun. So we have to set a time limit. If the Iguchi-gumi can't give us an answer by then, we can only leave first and think about it at length. Zhua Meiyan said, Su Yun, no matter what, you have to admit that what we said is reasonable. Whether you agree or not, you have to admit that we're right. Su Yun nodded. Of course, he admitted it. Things were indeed as they said. If the Iguchi-gumi couldn't find Muto Ichiro as soon as possible, he couldn't stay here forever. Then we'll give the Iguchi-gumi 3 more days. If Iguchi Kagoro can't give us an answer within 3 days, we'll leave at night. Su Yun said, if Muto Ichiro really evaporated into thin air, then we can only think of other ways and see where else we can get the chi consolidating grass. Lin Gu shook his head sadly. There was probably no other place in the world to find chi consolidating grass. If they couldn't find Muto Ichiro, he didn't know how Su Yun would face this fact. Without chi consolidating grass, even the Huangfu kingdom couldn't create a magical elixir that could restore Su Yun's Zhenqi martial arts. 3 days is enough. Su Yun knew what his decision meant. Another 3 days passed. It was neither fast nor slow. Su Yun didn't want this matter to affect his mood. When he went on a long trip, he always had to bring some gifts for Sister Shuang and Guagua. So, Su Yun didn't stay idle these 3 days. He walked around, appreciated the local customs, and bought some interesting souvenirs. This became a daily routine for Su Yun. Finally, when it was time to make a decision again, Iguchi Kagoro still didn't bring any valuable information to Su Yun. Zhua Meiyan booked the tickets for 11 p.m. They still had 2 hours before boarding. Now, they just had to wait for Su Yun to make a decision. Let's go. Su Yun's decision was resolute. However, the second after Su Yun made his decision, Iguchi Kagoro came to the door. His serious expression was mixed with some uneasiness. My people have found Muto Ichiro. He's in Shinjuku, Tokyo. Chapter 877. This news was too timely for Su Yun and the others. It was really a glimmer of light at the end of the tunnel. No matter what, the guy they had been looking for many days finally gave himself away. Muto Ichiro had hidden himself so carefully because he didn't know how to face his master, right? Su-yun's patience had been crushed by these days of waiting. Where is he now? Where is Shinjuku? Iguchi Kagoro could see that Su-yun couldn't wait. Mr. Su, please rest assured. My people have surrounded the place where Muto Ichiro is. We will never let him out of our sight until we are sure that you have succeeded in casting a spell on him. You will alert the enemy if you do this. Lin Gu was a little anxious. It wasn't easy to find someone. If Muto Ichiro became vigilant because of the exposure of the Iguchi Gumi, then their 6 days of waiting would be wasted. You just need to tell us where he is. We will take care of the rest. To everyone's surprise, Iguchi Kagoro shook his head and refused Lin Ji's orders and arrangements. I have wasted so much effort to find him. I will never let him out of my sight easily. I have to watch Mr. Su plant the curse on him with my own eyes. If you can't make him eat his own medicine, I'll let my people do it. No matter how big the sacrifice is, I won't let him live to see the sun tomorrow. If Iguchi Kagoro did it, regardless of whether he could kill Muto Ichiro or not, Su-yun and the others wouldn't be able to get the seeds of the chi-consolidating grass that he carried with him. This was absolutely impossible. Mr. Iguchi, I don't think you know who Muto Ichiro is, Su-yun said. You want to kill him with the help of the Iguchi Gumi? It is simply a fantasy. Of course I know. That's why I said that no matter how big the sacrifice is, no matter how big the price, I will not let him go. Iguchi Kagoro said, Of course, I don't want to do it myself. You are a master. You must have a way to help me get rid of him silently. Since he used a spell on my daughter, I naturally want to give him a taste of his own medicine. Mr. Su, I hope you can cast your spell. Su-yun knew how to receive black magic, but he didn't know how to cast it. Becoming a tame headmaster was not something that could be done in a day or two. Even the little demons that could be summoned by ghosts needed a lot of effort to find and nurture them for 49 days before they could be used to cast spells. It was not as simple as Iguchi Kagoro said. Iguchi-san, tame head is not as simple as you think. Zuameyen couldn't help but say, if it's that simple, then wouldn't all the Nanyang people be black magic masters? Then the world would be in chaos. Please trust us, we will solve this problem. Iguchi Kagoro insisted. No, I have to see Mr. Su use the black magic on him with my own eyes. Otherwise, I have to make sure that he dies in my hands. Only in this way can I be at ease. Only in this way can I resolve the hatred in my heart. Now that Iguchi Kagoro had made up his mind, no matter what anyone said, he couldn't change his mind. At this point, Su-yun could only use a delaying tactic. Iguchi-san, you can let me cast the spell, but I need to get something from Muto Ichiro to do it. Otherwise, it will be impossible to successfully tame the head. What do you need? His hair? His fingernails? Iguchi Kagoro frowned. Okay, don't worry, I will get someone to get it for you. No. This can't be done by your people. Su-yun immediately refused firmly. I need my people to do this personally. If your people alert the enemy, it means that something terrible will happen. I will never allow that to happen. You have to listen to me on this matter. If you refuse, then I will refuse all your requests. Seeing that Su-yun's words left no room for negotiation, Iguchi Kagoro had no choice but to agree. Okay, I promise you. Who will you arrange to do this? Me. Xia Choyu, who had been silent all this time, said lightly. Iguchi Kagoro's eyes were full of doubts. With such a little girl? Iguchi-san, as long as she gets close to Muto Ichiro, she can get anything she wants. Su-yun, you don't have to have any doubts about this. Iguchi Kagoro's mouth showed a bitter smile. Mr. Su, then you have to give me a reason not to doubt it, right? Xia Choyu got up and walked past Iguchi Kagoro. She sat on the sofa behind him with a smile and shook his phone in her hand. Is this reason enough? Iguchi Kagoro was dumbfounded. He didn't notice anything wrong at all, and his phone had already fallen into the other party's hands. Although this girl didn't look old, her ability wasn't small. This kind of shoplifting technique was obviously not something an ordinary thief could do. Su-yun, Iguchi-san, the longer we delay, the lower our chances of success. Now can you tell us where Muto Ichiro is? Iguchi Kagoro finally relented. He's in the biggest red light district in Shinjuku, looking for pleasure alone. Although my people surrounded that place, they didn't go in. I was also worried about alerting him, so I rushed to you to find a solution. Red light district? Xia Choyu frowned. She didn't want to go to that place. Looks like our Choyu doesn't like that place. Zuameyen's delicate mind instantly caught Xia Choyu's frown. Don't worry, sister will go with you. I won't let anyone disturb you. Also, I have a very good idea that can let you safely get close to Muto Ichiro. Zuameyen always had a lot of ideas. Su-yun was quite assured about this. With Zuameyen by Xia Choyu's side, at least her safety could be guaranteed. It could also make Su-yun feel more at ease. What idea? Xia Choyu asked curiously. You'll know when we get there. Zuameyen smiled. However, it's best to dress sexier when we go to that place. Otherwise, we'll definitely look out of place and it'll be easier for people to suspect us. Iguchi Kagoro admired this woman's meticulousness. That was indeed the case. In a place like Shinjuku, if you dressed properly, you would definitely look out of place. On the contrary, the more seductive you dressed, the more you could blend into the environment and not be noticed. Xia Choyu wasn't an old-fashioned person, so she could accept this point. Iguchi Kagoro took back his phone from Xia Choyu and immediately arranged for people to buy some suitable clothes for the two girls to choose from. Today, he had placed all his hopes on this girl who could easily take the things in his pockets. About half an hour later, Iguchi Kagoro's men brought dozens of seductive clothes to everyone. Zuameyen and Xia Choyu also needed a man to evaluate their clothes. This responsibility naturally fell on Su-yun's shoulders. Chapter 878. Under Zuameyen's short skirt, her bare long legs were enough to instantly captivate thousands of young men. Xia Choyu's tight-fitting clothes were also enough to make people go crazy. The two beauties' outfits had completely stunned Su-yun. Compared to them, those Japanese girls were completely defeated. Even if they went to a place like Shinjuku's red light district, they would definitely be the center of attention. Most people had a certain understanding of Shinjuku. Some had seen it through the movie Shinjuku, while others had seen it through the city hunter manga. However, stories were stories after all. Although fictional things were not real, they were still from reality. Speaking of Shinjuku, it was definitely one of the more prosperous business districts in Tokyo and even in the entire Japan. There were rich and complete commercial and entertainment facilities, as well as high-quality colleges and universities. There were also more tourists from various countries, and the skyscrapers were also dazzling. Muto Ichiro had enough reasons to choose to hide here. It was because the density of people here was even higher than anywhere else in the world. That was why the Iguchi group, which had a huge influence in Japan, had searched for 6 days like looking for a needle in a haystack. Only then did they find Muto Ichiro in Shinjuku's damned Kabuki-cho. Everyone in Japan knew that Kabuki-cho was the only entertainment center in Tokyo. There were dance halls, bars, cinemas, video games, custom shops, nightclubs, lovers' hotels, and so on. As long as the sun set, there would always be an endless stream of people. It was definitely a city that never sleeps. Apart from that, the whole world also knew that Kabuki-cho in Shinjuku was definitely the largest red light district in Asia. Speaking of this, it was necessary to mention Kabuki-cho. It could be said to be a typical ethnic performance art in Japan. It appeared in the early Edo period in the 17th century, and the Kabuki-cho beauty called Okuno was a legendary figure that everyone in Japan knew. Because this operation could not be alerted, Su-yun and Lin Ge could only resist the urge in their hearts and stay in the hotel to wait for news. Everything was left to Zhua Meiyan to arrange. With her leading Xia Qiuyu, Su Yun could more or less relax a little. Iguchi Kagoro proposed to send the two of them, but Zhua Meiyan refused without hesitation. She wanted Iguchi Kagoro to promise that no matter what happened, he would not interfere. Otherwise, Iguchi Group would be in big trouble. In fact, once Iguchi Kagoro and Muto Ichiro went against each other, Su Yun and the others would be in trouble. If Su Yun's framing was seen through, then it would be even more difficult for them to leave Japan smoothly than ascending the Shu Dao. After Zhua Meiyan and Xia Qiuyu got off at Shinjuku Station, they searched for the address given by Iguchi Kagoro. According to Iguchi Kagoro, Muto Ichiro was drinking and having fun in the biggest nightclub here. Compared to Zhua Meiyan's calmness, Xia Qiuyu was more or less nervous. The prostitutes standing in front of the brothel would glare at them with unfriendly gazes, while the men in front of the brothel would greet them warmly. Fortunately, this was Japan and there were no familiar faces. Otherwise, Xia Qiuyu would be too embarrassed to come to a place that was labeled as a pleasure zone. This place was much crazier than Dongguan. Xia Qiuyu was not only nervous about this. Because of their clothes, she was also worried that they would be targeted by the Metropolitan Police Department and the local gangs. After thinking about it, she realized that there was no gang more powerful than the Iguchi Group. Thus, she felt more at ease. The two of them arrived at Shinjuku District's Kabuki-cho Ichim. This mysterious and ambiguous district made them curious. The lights were blurred, tourists were weaving, and the music was sometimes heard. There were also police cars from the Metropolitan Police Department at the corner. "Sister Yen, why is everything legal in the Japanese?" asked Xia Qiuyu. "Even a kabuki club can be opened openly." "You don't understand this. This is an art. In Waseda University, there is also a kabuki class." Zhua Meiyan replied, "I heard that many Japanese kabuki dancers idolize Li Sheshe of the Song dynasty from Huaxia. They think that she is beautiful and graceful. She is good at music, chess, calligraphy, and painting. She is good at everything. Not only did she not sell her body, but she even managed to seduce the emperor. Ha ha." As they spoke, they bumped into a few golden-haired girls. They were tall and slender, and they were wandering the streets of Kabuki town. According to the regulations of the city, these Japanese girls who wander the streets can only sell their skills and not their bodies. They can only accompany guests to drink, sing, and drink tea. Zhua Meiyan pointed at the girls and said, "Of course, we can't rule out the possibility that some rich, wretched old men might take advantage of them. Actually, they are more conservative than before." Xia Qiuyu was shocked by Zhua Meiyan's knowledge. She hadn't expected her to know so much. "I read a book called The History of Ludong Y in the past. It said that the kabuki of that time would often perform provocative acts. Many students from Huaxia would be invited to drink with prostitutes. They wouldn't be paid much. There was a performance called Wading the River. At the end of the performance, the dancers would stand on their tiptoes and pretend to stretch out their legs to wade the river. In reality, they would lift up their skirts to show their lower body to the guests." Zhua Meiyan shrugged. "Of course, there are also those who sell their bodies. Even those so-called showrooms have very strict management. They even have to check their bodies every month." Very quickly, they stopped in front of a large nightclub called Yi Lai Xiang. This was the place where the Iguchi Gumi had discovered Muto Ichiro. When they arrived at their destination, Zhua Meiyan couldn't help but feel a little nervous. She had to do her best to control her aura so that she wouldn't be detected and protect Xia Qiuyu in the dark. As for other matters, she really couldn't help at all. Entering the place, the blurred atmosphere could quickly engulf a person. Zhua Meiyan used her fastest speed to determine Muto Ichiro's location. He had actually called 7 or 8 girls to accompany him. He was really generous. Because Xia Qiuyu didn't know the Japanese language, she could only act according to her plan. Very quickly, she and Zhua Meiyan went their separate ways. Zhua Meiyan hid in an inconspicuous corner and asked for a bottle of beer. Whenever someone tried to strike up a conversation with her, she would mercilessly glare them away. Xia Qiuyu went to a place closer to Muto Ichiro and sat down. Fortunately, this place had specially recruited waiters who knew English. After all, there were many foreign tourists in Kabuki town. If a nightclub couldn't take care of foreign-speaking customers, it would be very difficult for it to become so big. Because she had important matters to attend to, Xia Qiuyu didn't dare to order alcohol. She only ordered a glass of water and said that she was waiting for someone. Then, her mind raced as she tried to think of a way to get close to Muto Ichiro. He was drinking merrily among a few girls at the table, so his guard was naturally very low. Chapter 879. Beauty, are you waiting for someone? If you don't mind, I can treat you to a drink first. A drunk Japanese man walked to Xia Qiuyu's side and sat down next to her. You're so pretty, you won't refuse, right? Xia Qiuyu didn't understand Japanese, so she didn't know what he was talking about. However, she hated the strong smell of alcohol and tobacco on him, so she rejected him in English. Sorry, there's someone here. I hope you can sit somewhere else. However, the drunk Japanese man didn't understand English. He looked at Xia Qiuyu blankly for a while before he came to a realization. Shaoga. So you're not a Japanese girl. Ha ha ha, since that's the case, you need Big Brother's care and concern. With Big Brother here, don't worry. I'll accompany you well. Hearing this guy talking to himself, Xia Qiuyu felt helpless. She really hoped that Zhuo Meiyan would come over and slap this guy to death. That way, he wouldn't disturb her anymore. Unfortunately, Zhuo Meiyan didn't come over. Instead, she was drinking beer in a corner not far away. Come, let Big Brother hug you. The Japanese man saw that Xia Qiuyu was a little flustered. Instead, he pushed his body closer to her. Xia Qiuyu quickly got up and dodged. At that moment, she seemed to have thought of a way to get close to Muto Ichiro. After all, Muto Ichiro was a Hua Xia descendant. He could understand Mandarin. At this time, Xia Qiuyu could only use this method to attract Muto Ichiro's attention. Since there was no other way, Xia Qiuyu could only do this. She shouted, "Hooligan! Get out of my way!" The drunk Japanese man had a strange smile on his face. He licked his lips and said to himself, "So it's a Hua Xia girl. Good, good. Big Brother likes Hua Xia girls the most. You suit Big Brother's taste the most. Ha ha ha, don't even think about running away today. If you want to find trouble, get lost. Don't disturb Big Brother's mood." When Muto Ichiro heard Xia Qiuyu's reprimand, he naturally noticed the Hua Xia girl. The moment he wanted to make a move, he instantly appeared behind the drunk Japanese man. The Japanese man was already drunk, so he wasn't afraid of the guy who quickly appeared behind him. "You're really brave. How dare you meddle in other people's business? Do you know who I am? Who do you think you are? Scram!" Muto Ichiro was immersed in seeking pleasure these days because he was in a bad mood. Suddenly, someone provoked him and touched his sore spot. Deep in his heart, he knew the shame of betraying the country. Being called a lackey was the last thing he wanted to hear in his life. But the moment this person scolded him, the anger that Muto Ichiro had been suppressing all this time erupted. Under the effects of alcohol, he used all his strength to punch out. His fist was like a sharp arrow, directly penetrating the drunkard's body. This bloody scene completely stunned everyone present. After all, such a horrifying scene could only be seen in movies. It wasn't possible in real life. So much so that some people had already started looking for cameras, thinking that this was a secret filming of a certain movie. Well, when some people couldn't find the so-called camera, they started to understand. Even if it was a movie, this kind of scene would need post-production. It definitely wouldn't be so realistic and bloody during the shooting. Following a girl's scream, the nightclub instantly turned into a mess. Xia Qiuyu was really scared. She wanted to attract Muto Ichiro's attention so that she could get close to him and steal the chi-consolidating grass necklace on his neck. But Muto Ichiro's anger was too terrifying. When the body in front of Xia Qiuyu fell to the ground with a loud thud, Xia Qiuyu could not control the intense nausea, and vomited with a wah sound. "You're from Huaxia?" Although Muto Ichiro killed someone in front of everyone, he didn't quickly leave the scene. Instead, he stood in front of Xia Qiuyu and asked. Xia Qiuyu struggled to control her nausea and nodded at Muto Ichiro. "Then you shouldn't have come to Dongying." Muto Ichiro said coldly, "Dongying isn't as beautiful as you think." Xia Qiuyu tried her best to control her nausea and fear. She knew that this was her only chance to get close to Muto Ichiro. If she couldn't succeed this time, it meant that there wouldn't be a second chance. A person like Muto Ichiro would definitely suspect someone who was fated to get close to him twice. "You're from Huaxia?" Xia Qiuyu heard Muto Ichiro speak Chinese and pretended to be surprised. Muto Ichiro firmly denied, "No. I'm from Dongying. I'm from Dongying. I have nothing to do with Huaxia." "No matter what, thank you. Can you help me? Help me and let me pass." Xia Qiuyu said, "My legs are really weak." Muto Ichiro said coldly, "Your legs are weak when you see the corpse. How can you have the guts to ask a murderer like me to help you? Tell me, what's your purpose?" Xia Qiuyu's heart sank. Could it be that he saw through her? Because of the murder, the people in the nightclub all rushed to the exit, wanting to leave as soon as possible. Zhua Meiyan's forehead was also sweating. Things had developed to such an unimaginable and uncontrollable stage. It was really out of her expectations. "Why would you say that?" "I just feel that you were helping me," Xia Qiuyu explained, "and you can speak Chinese, so I don't think you're a bad person." Muto Ichiro raised his bloody right hand. "I'm not a bad person? Hee hee. If you were really an ordinary person, how could you accept what you're facing? Don't continue lying, because I really don't have any patience. What's your purpose for getting close to me? I'll give you one last chance. If you don't tell me, don't blame me for being impolite." Xia Qiuyu had no way out. "Mr. Iguchi ordered you to capture him." Zhua Meiyan was at her wit's end and could only shout angrily. She could see that the people in the nightclub were panicking, and there were also some people who had been secretly monitoring Muto Ichiro and them. These people were definitely from the Iguchi group. Only Iguchi Kagoro's identity could order them. As expected, Zhua Meiyan's words directly caused dozens of people to surface. Muto Ichiro was a little surprised. He had no enmity with the Iguchi group, so why was Iguchi Kagoro looking for trouble with him? While his mind was working quickly, he had already pulled Xia Qiuyu in front of him. Although he wasn't afraid of these people attacking him, if someone secretly shot at him, this girl could at least block the bullet. "I have nothing to do with this matter." Xia Qiuyu struggled desperately. "Please let me go, I'm just an ordinary tourist." You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.